Straight-shooting FBI agent Kate Macer is dragged into a morally ambiguous cross-country border battle forming part of the US's war on drugs. Her two mentors in the field offer up little information, leaving Kate adrift in a foreign land. Sicario cemented Denis Villeneuve's place in Hollywood as the new thinking person's wunderkind director. Helped by 3 outstanding lead performances, this cartel crime flick won box office and critical plaudits. My name is Luke, and the two wolves with me are Westy.
You're asking me how a watch works. For now, let's just keep an eye on the time.
And Matt.
No lawyers on this train. Just give me the girl.
All the right movies are dramatically overreacting and making enough noise to be called back over to Mexico. Hi everyone, welcome to All the Right Movies, a tree-shaking, chaos-creating podcast on classic and hit films.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm. This week we're in the land of wolves as we go behind the scenes on Denis Villeneuve's modern great, Sicario.
Lovely.
A sun-drenched nightmare of a film.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
But before we do that, it's that time of the show where we tell you about being a patron of All the Right Movies.
Absolutely. The only cartel to be part of.
Yeah, yeah, we won't put you in a vat of acid if you piss us off. Well, maybe.
Let's see what happens, Matt. Let's make no promises.
Yeah. No, of course not. We can't.
If you are a new listener, you know, the warmest of welcomes.
Yes.
Come on in, the water's just fine. This is our classic podcast and only the most recent 25 episodes are available for all to listen. Mm-hmm. The rest are available in our podcast archive. Now, this is episode 114. So there are 89 podcasts just like this that you can listen to by becoming a patron of All the Right Movies. You can do that on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Patreon.
Okay.
Also, if you support us on Patreon, you can get access to 2 additional exclusive movie podcasts that me and the two fellas here create every month. And they are a double feature where we pit 2 films against each other with a thematic thread.
Yep.
Yes.
And then the watch list where we review new movie releases generally.
Yeah, all fantastic.
All fantastic, all brand new, all essential, I would say.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And there are countless other benefits of becoming a Patreon supporter of All the Right Movies, so sign up at patreon.com/All the Right Movies, or alternatively, it's Apple Podcasts and Spotify for the classic podcast archive.
Very nice.
Okay.
If you can support us, that would be amazing, and whichever option you choose, you're in for a hell of a good time, no doubt. Thanks,
definitely,
everyone.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so it's back to the Chihuahua Desert and Sicario, a film that is basically Westy in visual form. Of course, it was your pick, Westy.
Yeah.
Why do you want to talk about Sicario?
I mean, we're talking about this on double feature.
Yes.
And I feel like we need to kind of stick with the guns a little bit and actually follow through on the promise of putting it into a classic episode.
Because it won, and that what happens is if it wins, it goes into contention for being a classic episode.
Exactly. Yeah, I should have explained that. But thanks, Luke. That's why you're here.
That's why I'm here, Westy.
Yeah, iron out the creases of my crap logic. And it's absolutely one of them films that I keep coming back to. I think it's just absolutely fantastic. I love the way it just weaves the storyline. I love the way it's shot, obviously. It's something we feel we've seen a million times, but again, it's brand new.
Yeah.
You know, it's a film that explores things that we've seen over and over again, but he makes it very personal. It's a very intelligent film. It's one of them films that I really like because it's a very slow burn, but you don't get it on the first watch. You've got to go back and you've got to go back and you've got to go back like 3, maybe 4 times until it clicks. I think Emily Blunt's fantastic in it, which we talked about in double feature. Del Toro is incredible in this film. Brolin's incredible in this film.
Yeah.
I love every single thing about it, really. And it's just one of the films that I really want to talk about. Get in depth with it and really explore it. So that's why I've put it up.
Brilliant. Get in the grooves of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I saw it with the flicks when it first came out, purely because it was Villeneuve. I'd seen Prisoners and Enemy, and I was excited about his next thing, and this got rave review, so I was in there. And I did leave the cinema feeling a bit let down, like you were saying, Westy. It demands rewatches.
Well, it is very intricate.
Yes, it is. Is that a callback to a joke from our double feature show?
It's a little bit of a callback. You might have to sign up to listen back to that one, but that's an in-joke. It's a little callback.
I think I was expecting something with a bit more action, maybe.
Yeah.
And like you said, we all came back to it a couple of years ago, and my opinion of it skyrocketed on the rewatch. I think I just needed a bit more time with it because on paper it's just straight up my alley.
Yeah.
And like you said, Westy, cinematography is unbelievable. The music makes you feel ill at ease for at least 2 hours after watching the film.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's some real standout moments. The three leads at first rate, particularly Del Toro, who embodies like silent terror incredibly well.
Yeah.
I think it's the definition of a modern great. So it deserves our attention, I think. What about you, Matt?
Very similar to what you've both said. Yes, it is about time we kept a word about double feature winners actually getting the classic treatment.
Yes.
And yeah, for me, Sicario is a film I've done quite a big 180 on over the years, because I also saw it at the cinema and I just wasn't that taken with it for whatever reason. I thought it was fine, but nothing remarkable. But then other people kept bringing it up in conversation. I kept seeing it on people's lists of the best films of the 20th century and whatever. And I thought, yeah, there probably is something there worth going back to. Because, I didn't dislike it. I knew there were great things in it, but it just hadn't
That was
blown me
probably
away.
me, wasn't it?
You were definitely on that list, yes.
Why does Westy keep talking about this film?
So I did over time. I've gone back to it a few times to the point where I started to get a lot more out of it, and to the point where, it was my choice to put it up as a double feature on an Emily Blunt episode a couple of years ago. So just as happy to give it the full deep dive.
Lovely.
So Sicario was written by Taylor Sheridan, directed by Denis Villeneuve, and co-produced by Basil Iwanak, Edward MacDonald, Molly Smith, Thad and Trent Luckenbill for Black Label Media and Thunder Road Productions. Largely shot in Albuquerque, El Paso and Mexico City, it was distributed by Lionsgate into theatres on the 18th of September 2015. Emily Blunt stars as Kate Mesa, Josh Brolin as Matt Graver, Benicio del Toro as Alejandro Gillick, and Daniel Kaluuya as Reggie Wayne. Okay, so we're on the Mexico-US border where nothing will make sense to your ears, and you'll doubt everything that we do. But by the end, you will understand.
The beginning.
We open with a literal and metaphorical bang in Chandler, Arizona. We're introduced to Kate and Reggie's world as they infiltrate a drug ring and find a very nasty surprise hidden in the walls. Over to you to start us off, Westy.
Okay, well, I didn't mention Roger Deakins in my intro, and that's probably because I'm going to mention him all the way through everything else. And I was like, no, I'm just going to kind of push it down. I'm just going to repress that thought. But this opening shot is like, when you're on holiday and you just sit in the apartment for a little while, and then you go outside and it's like, oh,
ow.
Everything's just so like viciously bright. But you can kind of make things out, but it's not overexposed. And then you get them black figures walking into the shot. It's just beautifully contrasted. And I was just straight in. I was like, right, okay, this makes perfect sense. It's not an overused color palette. It's beautifully shot. Here we go. And then we cut it inside that vehicle, the SWAT vehicle. I've heard Deakins on the podcast say that they couldn't really afford to get the SWAT vehicle and drive it through and have these shafts of light coming through that are just so enigmatic and just so quite the angels on our shoulders kind of thing, which is in the script. So that was actually needed to do that. So what they did is they built this. It's made out of cardboard. Wow. And they put these strips in the cardboard, and there's people rocking the set backwards and forwards, and then they're just moving the light through, and it's just catching it with the haze.
Just like they did in Blue Velvet.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. But you can tell it's everybody firing on all cylinders here with a budget that they're not necessarily used to. I don't think they're used to something this low, especially not Deakins at this point. And I do think that this is Villeneuve going to him and saying, I've seen No Country for Old Men, can we just have a little bit of that, or 85% of that maybe?
That
just do that. And it just goes from visually beautiful to just intense. It's just so loud and just so vibrant, and that just going through the wall, and you're thinking, what's going on here? Absolutely crazy. And it's just this score that's just underneath, like this, like the devil's heartbeat. It's just pounding, but just so distant, but it's just
it's awful.
And it's just reminding you that there's just something not right. Before they even come through, we get that great shot of dust, and that's a recurrent theme, which I think kind of reflects them and their ghosts, and they just turn up and vanish, and we've got that as a recurrent visual theme by Villeneuve, which works really, really well. But there's just this really great moment where she comes to him. She's like, FBI, he shoots first. Everyone's in the right. There's only two guys there. What's he shooting at? There's nobody here. And then there's that moment where it's just, then it's a horror film. It's what is going on? And they open the wall, and then it's just how they're disgusted by the smell. And then when that happens, and then we get that score again, and there's just, the camera matches that note. It just creeps forward, just and then people are being sick outside, it creeps behind Emily Blunt, it creeps forward, it creeps towards the bodies. And you're like, I don't want to see that. It's like you're being pulled towards it on a conveyor belt. You just don't want to come anywhere near it. But it's like you're slowly getting pulled into this hell. And then we get everybody on the scene. Everybody's looking through it. You get the guys in the hazmat suits all looking through it. You get the forensic team in there, which I definitely would have had Kate Blanchett in there to do another cameo, much like Hot Fuzz, just for the hell of it. It would have been great. But that's just me. Every time I watch it, hello, it would have been wonderful. Just to break up the tension here. That would have been just before the explosion. But then you see they need the bolt cutters. Something else is going on. There's nothing over with. And then that explosion hits you like a ton of bricks. Like the sound design on that, Villeneuve just went, how loud can we make it? Well, that's about as loud as we can make it before people go deaf. Right, just do that then. We don't make anyone deaf, but just about there until they do. Right, great. It's just so powerfully done, so well played. If you don't want to watch the rest of this after the opening, you've got a serious problem.
Without the dead bodies and without the explosion, it would still be a bloody good sequence.
Oh, absolutely.
But if you had those two things under it, I love it when we need the bolt cutters, and then it cuts to a close-up of one of those bodies in the walls, and you know that something really bad's going to happen.
Yeah.
A lot of the background characters in this scene were taken up by actual SWAT, Navy SEAL, and DEA agents. So I think it gives it a certain amount of subconscious authenticity.
Oh, it really does, yeah.
And then because this mission has gone so badly, Kate gets pulled in for what she thinks is going to be a debrief, and it's definitely got that waiting outside the teacher's office vibe, hasn't it? Because is this a good thing she's there? Is it a bad thing? Did Kate do anything wrong on that mission? And it doesn't seem like it, but who knows with these people, how they take these operations that go like this too. And it's interesting when they start talking about her suitability for the mission, how quickly Matt, which is Brolene's character, jumps to a positive opinion of her suitability, but he completely dismisses Reggie, my opening quote about no lawyers on this train. Because even though Reggie would get told he's done a tour of Iraq, the fact that he has a law degree and that's a negative for Matt, that's extremely telling of what Matt knows they're going to be doing once they cross the border.
Matt's body language changes when he hears that, and he's shot from the back. And he just goes, that's not happening.
You can't see his face.
Brilliant,
And then when Kate goes into the office and starts talking, there's such a definite silence to the lamb's feel to this as well. When she steps in that room, and it's her POV, and they're all looking at her. It's like that sort of Clarice going into the elevator, where she's surrounded by all the male FBI agents, and then those POV shots looking directly at her. And it just continues to be disorientating without no answer. See, like all the information that gets thrown at her, all she can say is, well, I'm not privy to that, and I'm not privy to that either. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, still has no idea why she's there. And then when Matt throws that question at her, if she's married or has kids, and I think it's such an interesting question because she bristles at it immediately. But is Matt being casually sexist here, or is he trying to work out what kind of leverage the cartels would have over her if they got hold of her?
Very much.
Or even more sinister, if she does disappear, who would be asking questions about
what
her?
What are the implications?
Yeah. What are the implications, which is never answered throughout the film. So
I think it's all of them things, to be honest.
Quite possibly. I mean, would he ask, if he did want Reggie along, would he have asked Reggie if he had a wife and kids? Maybe, maybe not. So it's left ambiguous, which I like a lot. And then it's just Kate set up for the rest of the journey.
She's on the journey. She doesn't know what the journey is.
No.
Kind of idealistic, blue-eyed approach to, I want to get the people who created this mess that I was in this morning.
Yeah.
No questions asked or no questions answered, which I think is quite important.
Yeah, I mean, she's putting trust in the people higher above her, and I think that's a mistake. And that's what we all do.
I think you would do naturally, wouldn't you?
But you put trust in your government, don't you? I think that's what the film's trying to say, is that you don't quite know what's going on, and you take an oath to it, and you go, okay, yeah, I'll trust you. But behind the scenes, it's a lot darker than you think.
Very much. And then when she gets on the plane, I love that Matt, not this Matt Graver, played by Broyle.
But you do love me.
Yeah, I love you as well, Matt. Yeah, don't get that wrong.
Just try.
I love that Graver introduces Alejandro from afar to Kate. He said, that's my bird dog over there, Alejandro. But you don't know that it's Del Toro until he comes on the plane.
Yeah.
There's nothing given by way of explanation from Graver, who just curls up and goes to sleep like a dog. And he leaves Kate in the presence of this stranger who tells her that they're going to Juarez, which basically means you're going into the war zone. Terrifying.
Yeah.
And very confusing from our point of view. Kate knows as little as we do.
And in this scene, Alejandro wakes up in a panic, but we never specifically find out why. But in the original screenplay, there was a nightmare sequence where Alejandro was tied to a chair by his wrists while his daughter was being put in a vat of acid and his wife's head was cut off.
Dear me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen closely, you can hear the screams of his wife and daughter underneath the sound of the engines of the plane. which I didn't really notice until maybe fourth or fifth. It's very, very subtle, but it's there. Brilliant.
Yeah.
It
I'm
is
so pleased they didn't have that, though. I love the ambiguity of
Yeah.
it all, the mystery of it.
It's better left unsaid or unseen, that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
That sounds like a Saw film or something like that. That's
Does,
too
yeah,
much.
yeah.
Too gross out.
Yeah, but I mean, the way Villeneuve would have done it, I don't know. I have absolutely no idea what that would have looked like.
I think that the way that Taylor Sheridan wrote it, though, would have been a little bit too on the nose.
It would have been very, very much, very graphic, yeah.
Yeah. When Alejandro wakes up, I love that he composes himself. Kate says, "Are you all right?" And he takes a moment and he goes, "Yeah, fine."
Yeah.
Just completely unflappable.
Yeah.
And Kate asks if there's anything she should know. Your quote at the top, Westy, Alejandro says, "You're asking me how a watch works. For now, just let's keep an eye on the time."
Yeah.
It's a great line. It could have been a little bit cheesy had it not been for the tone that Villeneuve brings to the whole film, because there's a couple of lines like that and I think, oh, that's really good, but it could have been judged very badly.
It could have been. It could have backfired.
And when he says that to Kate, she's completely incredulous. She just looks at him in silence for a while. And it's almost laughable how much little information she's being given. She's like, really?
Okay.
Yeah. And this is what we're going to expect from Alejandro for the rest of the film. He don't say much, but what he does say, absolute zingers. Every one of them.
Fantastic stuff.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So it's just immediate unease from the opening sequence. Something doesn't quite feel right. And like Kate, we're completely in the dark.
Yeah.
Kate, Matt, and Alejandro touch down, and answers continue to be out of reach. Matt, you're picking up here.
I am. This mission brief in Texas. Blunt is so excellent in this scene at tipping us off to all the red flags that are going up for Kate here. Alejandro in this scene, pretty much just ignoring everything being said about the mission, just checking his phone.
Yeah.
It's like me in a work meeting. Like, what? No, that's right. Like,
Do you want that on record?
yeah. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Like, none of this is concerning to him. And why? Why is no one paying attention to him at the same time or asking him his opinions? It's like no one else can see him in the room.
He's invisible, isn't he?
Yeah.
He is, because like when everyone gets up at the end of it, he just stays in his seat and she tries to question him and gets the bare minimum out of him before he essentially tells it, like, kind of your quote from earlier, Luke, you won't understand anything anyway. And then he just walks out.
Yeah.
But before that, there's just this moment where Villeneuve just holds the camera on her face and Emily Blunt, she doesn't blink. She just slightly inclines her head, taking it all in, but without any dialogue. You know all the thoughts whirring through her mind at that moment.
Yes.
Making jokes of the fact that once the bullets start flying, they'll be hiding behind the deltas. What has she got herself into here? And she has never looked more out of place than when that Delta guy who was sat next to her just moves past her. And like she's obviously got this slender frame and he's like a man mountain next to her. So there's a lot of questions, not many answers, and even the ones she does get, they're not particularly satisfying. But yeah, this for me, it's one of Blunt's finest moments, just from what she doesn't say. But you can tell what she's thinking anyway.
Yeah,
It's that mismatch of the team as well. It's that pick and mix of people, isn't it?
Yeah.
And those guys, I mean, if they need to do a Predator remake, then just cast those guys because they're all just massive.
Yeah, they are massive. Yeah.
But nonetheless, she hasn't got answers. She continues down to Juarez, and this car journey is just, it's a standout for the film for me. It's absolutely stunning. A tour de force of filmmaking. Huge wide vistas in those overhead shots, almost like we're looking down on Mexico, judging it.
Yeah.
That big long tracking shot over the border is magnificent. It just highlights just how huge the operation is to keep everything at bay on that border crossing. Then when we get down to Mexico, that image of the hanging dead naked bodies is just chilling.
Yeah, it really is, yeah.
There's a banner above them. One of the things it says is, "We're watching you." I don't doubt it for a second.
I don't doubt it. Yeah, but it's that Delta guy. He's just so in awe of it. He's like, it's great what they do.
Yeah.
Wow. Terrifying. They make you think they've done something wrong, but they probably haven't, and they're just random people, but it makes you scared.
It's terrifying. It's like a scene from a horror movie.
It is.
The intensity of this sequence is almost unparalleled, certainly from what is basically just a car ride with very little dialogue and no apparent threat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apart from the dead naked bodies, of course.
Yeah, apart from that, yeah. When they are moving, it's fine. It's when they stop and you think, what they stop for?
Alejandro here when he's in the car with Kate. Another zinger. Keep an eye out for the state police. They're not always the good guys.
Yeah.
So who the fuck is then?
Yeah.
Are we the good guys?
Yeah.
And then when they pick up Guillermo and then they leave Juarez, there's some incredible long-distance wide shots of the motorcade.
Mm-hmm.
And these provide such a huge sense of foreboding. That banner earlier is right. They are watching us. It's as if these cars are being tracked by the binoculars.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Filming in Juarez would have been obviously far too risky for the cast and crew.
Yeah.
Considering drug cartels are active in the city, making a film about the war on drugs in this hotbed cartel land probably isn't the smartest idea. So instead, they shot some 1,100 miles away on the outskirts of Mexico City, where it was much safer.
But filming on location was essential for the film. Deakins said, "This has to be another world. It's key to the character of Kate. It's got to be totally alien to her experience."
Villeneuve said the scouts found this place in Mexico City that was really close to the reality of Juarez. The wide streets, those shopping centres, the architecture, the poverty. Mexico City is like an urban monster.
It certainly looks like it.
Oh,
it's huge. Yeah. It's intricate. It dominates the screen. It's full of decay. It's terrifying.
It's not a great advert for tourism, though, for Mexico City, is it?
It isn't. Or Juarez.
Or Juarez.
For that matter. There's a message in the hill surrounding Juarez, and it translates to "The Bible is the truth. Read it."
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Great.
So now we've already felt a little bit of tension. We can see that there's a car tracking them. Everyone leaves them to kind of go towards the border. They think that they've got a lane open, but they don't.
Yes.
So now they're just trying to get through as quickly as possible. And you hear over the radio as they pull to a stop, it's a fuck up. What we're going to do now. And the great thing about this scene, the great thing about this sequence is it should be studied in film school. And I think it probably is, because I haven't been for a while. But it's just the way that this is set up, the way that it's blocked, the way that the acting works, the shot choices, and the sound design, and everything that Villeneuve puts in there to accentuate this build of tension. Because everything that we need to hear that's important is on a radio. You can say, "Well, clear now, it's coming."
Yeah.
You're like, what did he say? Shit. But we are so in this environment that it's hard to hear, and it's hard to focus, and it's hard to know where we're looking. And Emily Blunt is us in this situation. Get out of the car. No, she doesn't. Not. She just moves over the other side. Like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense. You know, that dog barking, that doesn't need to happen. But it's wonderful that it does, because you moved over, and there's nothing worse than something that you can't stop immediately. You can't just go over to that dog and say, "Oh, come on. Like, give it a break." You know, it's not like 5 easy pieces where you can just go over and start barking in its face. It's just like, but it's just then you hear like, okay, red Impala, 2 lanes over my 10.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm thinking, fucking hell, where's 10 o'clock? There's 12, right? So I'm dead, so I'll be rubbish. And then it's the green Civic, 2 lanes over. And then Alejandro just puts his gun behind Kate and says, "Just put your window down." And there's this really great moment in the cinematography where as that window comes down, you hear the sound. It just illuminates his face a little bit. A tiny, tiny bit. If you watch it again, like he's starting to realize what's going on.
Yeah.
We're starting to realize what's going on. And then over the radio, they actually say, they can see our lane clear, and if it's coming now.
Wow.
Which, if we actually heard that and somebody said that, it would remove all the tension completely, because you're like, right, okay, I know what to expect. But Villeneuve puts it over the radio and keeps it on the sound design. And then if they move, you move. If they engage, you engage. That's all of the information that's being given over the radio.
Yeah.
Like, everything's there to make you feel calm, but it's all kept at arm's length. And as soon as they open that door, they are out the car. They are out of that. If they leave, you leave. So as soon as that, you just keep an eye on the handles. As soon as the handles turn, they're there, and they just surround these cars, and they know exactly what they're doing. And it's just bang, 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 put them down. They actually want to kill them. They want them out of there. It's just so precisely done. And then when Kate sees the state police in the mirror, and then you get that flashback of what Alejandro said, is like, they're known always the good guys. Yeah. She spins around, she shoots him, but it's only when she sees him in the mirror and the reflection and what we see from her point of view. I think it's just absolutely wonderfully done, wonderfully executed. And them jumping in the boot as well to cover them from the back as they leave. And you know that there's safety. And then when they drive into the compound and you get that incredible wide shot where they're arguing about it. When they've got Guillermo in the car and they know they're going to have to try and get him over the border, from that moment to when they arrive back, that is an absolute lesson in how you create tension and how you deliver and how the audience can't really recover from it for the rest of the film. It's incredible.
It's an unbelievable sequence, so tense.
And there's that wonderful last line as well. This is going to be on every front page of every newspaper in America. Won't even make the papers in El Paso.
Yeah.
This happens all the time.
Yeah.
You've just seen it and nobody cares.
Yeah, it's striking that they just leave, 8, 10 dead bodies and just get the hell out of there.
Yeah. It's so good. It's so well done.
It is.
And just like not filming in Juarez, shooting at the Mexico-USA border crossing would have posed far too many problems. It would have halted traffic considerably and posed a significant security threat. So a recreation of the Bridge of Americas was constructed in a parking lot in Albuquerque.
Nice.
I mean, it scans. It looks legit. It looks
totally
genuine.
Does. Really does.
Incredible production
100%.
design.
Yeah.
So an intense hair-raising hop across the border and back again, and an outstanding first act in Sicario.
Unbelievable.
The director.
The man who's gone from strength to strength since making this film, but he also had been making movies for 15 years before it. Denis Villeneuve is the man directing, and Matt is the man to talk about it first. Take it away, Matt.
I think ruthless is the word that comes to mind when I think of his work here, because everything's very pared back. Everything is stripped to the most basic of essentials. There's no scene that has anything that it doesn't need in it. And as a result of that, there's this level of tension that runs through the film, and it pretty much doesn't relent from first scene to the last. Like, even in the scenes of dialogue, the tension's in the background because our main character is in a foreign country where she doesn't understand any of the customs or, to be honest, anything that's going on. And I think Villeneuve deserves immense credit for sustaining that tension. Every scene feels clipped. There's no fat here. He doesn't let any scene outstay its welcome. Nothing drags because that's the pace the film needs. If the film had a slower pace, I think it might be a bit pretentious, a bit self-indulgent, but Villeneuve never lets it get there. And all the set pieces that we've talked about and will talk about, they have this energy to them, like when you've twanged a guitar string, but you're still holding the note down and you're getting as much out of it as you can. So yes, the influence from the likes of Traffic, French Connection, they are very clear here, but all the same, it's got a level of control from Villeneuve where he wrings every last drop of tension that he can out of it. Making food and he's squeezing a lemon because you need some lemon juice. That lemon is absolutely bone dry by the end of it.
Yeah.
I've mentioned in the previous sequence that the shot choice and the camera coverage feel like Matt Kate, and the rest of the motorcade that they're in are being tracked in Juarez. And there's nothing that confirms that other than just the visuals. And this is Denis Villeneuve all the way through. He doesn't spoon feed us with exposition. There's very, very little of it. And when we do get it, it's gradual and reluctantly provided generally by Matt. Not this Matt, of course.
Of course.
No.
We don't need to know about Kate's backstory or her divorce. It's right there in her face, in her performance, in her physicality, the way she's framed. Villeneuve frames Alejandro in a way that makes him a formidable killer, not to be messed with, but also a man of sensitivity and values. And only get that from the visuals and the physical performance. The only dialogue that I pick up in this film are those zingers that we talked about that Alejandro and Matt have. Otherwise, it may as well be a silent film. Turn down the volume and you'll see just how visual Villeneuve is. And yeah, there are those incredible shots of the landscape we'll talk about more when we get to Deakins, but Villeneuve strips away all the unnecessary dialogue and takes you through this film and tells you what's going on by sight alone. It's an incredible skill. Also, the costume design tells its own visual story. Kate is clad in blue at the start, the blue of the law, the good guys. But then her t-shirt choices grow increasingly lighter as the film progresses, and by the end she's wearing a white shirt, as if the do the right thing attitude has been completely washed away.
Reggie mentions that as well. It's like one shirt a week.
Yes, he does. Brilliant.
Yeah. She needs a new bra, though.
She do well. That's
a little lazy number.
A lazy number.
And considering we're talking about Villeneuve's visuals, it seems appropriate that we introduce our first Patreon question.
Okay.
We mentioned at the top there are many benefits of becoming an ATRM patron, and this is one of them. You get the chance to ask a question for the film that we're talking about. Our first question is from Andrew Walton. Hello, Andrew.
Hello, Andrew.
Andrew says, I think Denis Villeneuve has the best eye in cinema right now. What other directors do you think offer the most jaw-dropping shots? He also says, love the pod. Thanks for all the great episodes. Hey.
Oh, thanks, mate.
Very kind.
No problem. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew.
Westy, other directors and jaw-dropping shots?
Oh, I mean, how long have you got?
Catnip for you, this question, isn't it?
It is catnip, isn't it? I mean, it's the reason I started, really watching films, getting into films, because of the visual medium of it. And then I started to appreciate the sound design and how that all tied together, then soundtracks on top of it and how that ties together, the visuals. It is a visual medium. It's how it started. So I'm not going to get all, pretentious and be all, well, it needs to be this and it needs to be that. So I've got a few, and I think a few that if people don't know listening to them, then they can check them out. But for me, these are just my personal kind of 5 that I just think I always come back to, and I always say, if it wasn't for these guys, then I just wouldn't be interested in watching films. I mean,
Okay.
the first one to me is Kubrick. You're talking about The Shining,
Of course.
2001. Barry Lyndon, even if it's not a film for everybody, but visually it's absolutely stunning. Paul Thomas Anderson, for me, I think is overlooked for his visuals.
Yeah.
If you look at There Will Be Blood, is so influential, and Boogie Nights as a debut is ridiculous for how visual. For me, a big influence is Terrence Malick. I think Days of Heaven, Tree of Life, Badlands, any of them for a Vista is always going to live. But two that are really, I think, influential to the directors that I've just mentioned, and especially to Villeneuve as well, is Kurosawa. I think if you look at Ran, if you look at Seven Samurai, look at the way he framed shots, wasn't a lot of moving camera, there wasn't a lot of technology around where they could move the camera, so it does have this kind of really epic feel. And Tarkovsky, for me, if you look at The Sacrifice, Solaris, Stalker,
yeah, brilliant.
just beautiful, absolutely beautiful visual filmmaking. So I would go with them five, and I'll stop there.
Okay, well, very restrained again, Westy.
Thank you. I could have gone on for fucking
you could
hours,
have.
but that's fine.
You know, it doesn't pain me to say, but I'm going to say it pains me to say, from a visual point of view, you can't go too far wrong with Chris Nolan. No. I'm not maybe the biggest fan of his work, but I think his composition work is outstanding. And I kind of had in mind people working now. And I know obviously Scorsese is working now, and I try to give it a bit more of a more contemporary edge. However, I have thrown in Ridley Scott as well, because I just instantly think visuals.
I mean, he just does it in his sleep now, doesn't he? Gladiator 2, just whatever.
Yeah, I'll do that. That's fine.
Yeah,
He's just trotting out 3-hour epics
it's
like they're a
you're
walk
300 years old, I'll just do Gladiator 3, that's fine, I'm bother.
I don't know how
He'll live
he
forever.
does it. No.
It's ridiculous.
I think Guillermo del Toro is such a unique eye, particularly from a fantastical point of view.
Yeah.
And to break from the pack, I'm going to throw in a young filmmaker who I'm excited to see more of. She's called Akasha Stevenson. She directed The First Omen.
Right.
Not the original Omen from 1976, the first Omen, which was the prequel, which came out a couple of years ago.
Yeah, good film.
That could have gone down a more familiar route of throwaway legacy horror sequels, but I think she brings something unique to the table. I think her visuals were a standout and stayed in my head for weeks after. So I'm expecting big things from her in the future.
Brilliant. For you to be impressed with that as well, I mean, you're a man to impress with that, because you're immediately going in there wanting to hate it.
Come on, then. Come on,
let's see what you've got.
Okay, go on.
Actually, that's quite good. That's good then.
Actually, that's amazing.
Phew.
Akash Stevenson, and if you haven't seen The First Omen, go for it.
Yeah,
brilliant. Don't be put off.
It's good.
And Matt, what about you? Jaw-dropping visuals? Who do you like?
I've also tried to keep it more contemporary, and I thought about people who maybe don't get as much attention as some of the big names, but who I wanted to kind of give a bit of a shout out to. I think Chad Stahelski, who's made all the John Wick films.
Nice. Brilliant.
Obviously, you think of those and you think of the action sequences and the choreography, but the way it's filmed, the way it's lit, he has created such a distinct visual sense in, one genre, one subgenre, really, one franchise, which I think is pretty incredible. Westy will definitely agree with me on this, but Robert Eggers as well. His films look like nothing else at the moment. Again, just so completely unique in his world. Someone who hasn't made a film for a while, but he's still around, hopefully he'll make something soon, is Wong Kar-wai, who's made films like In the Mood for Love, 2046, Chungking Express. Just, very small scale and intimate films, but absolutely
but still
beautifully done. Oh, beautiful stuff. I want to give a shout out to George Miller as well, just the way he can
big
shoot
GM.
action. Big GM, the best George.
No one's shot a pig like George Miller.
Exactly, Babe 2, Big City, nothing like it. And then the last one, I suppose, like your last choice, Luke, somebody who I'm hoping will go on to bigger and even better things, but Rose Glass, who's made Saint Maud and then Love Lies Bleeding, very different films, but both have got such a unique visual sense to both of them, so I'm very excited to see what Rose Glass will do in the future.
Very much, I like those two films a lot.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, well, thank you very much for the question, Andrew. I hope you like our answers.
Yes.
Bringing it back to Denis Villeneuve, Westy, your thoughts on him as director on Sicario?
I mean, I really rate him as a director. I think he's just a very honest human being, and I think his films are very honest. I mean, if you read the screenplay, he's gone through that screenplay and said, I'm not doing that, I'm not doing that, I'm not doing that. He loves mystery, and I think real life is about mystery. You don't know everything that's going on, and the more that you interpret in your mind, the more crazy you get by just trying to get your version of the story and your version of what's going on. And you don't see everything that's laid down. And I think he loves that, especially in this film. He loves mystery and he loves illusion. And he loves allusion, and he loves to say, well, is that what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Or is it not? That's up to you. That's up to the audience. And he definitely has a vision for this. And the
Very
vision
much.
that I get from this is like he's going to hold his cards close to his chest and play what he wants to. And what I respect mostly from watching this film again and again and again is that he never shows his full hand. He's got 5 cards and he always shows you 3. Every time you go back to the film, you see a different set of 3. You never see the full 5. It's got so much confidence and so much, I don't care what you think about this. This is the film I'm making kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
I just really love that.
Yeah.
I really, really love it. I love the fact that he's pulled influences from, There Will Be Blood. He's pulled massive influences from the Coens with this. Especially in the writing, he's taken the Taylor Sheridan script and just went, I'm turning that into a Coen Brothers script by deleting about 30% of it, just getting rid of that, and we're going to make it mysterious. And it is what it is. It ends like No Country for Old Men. It ends exactly the same. It's just got this real ambiguity to it. And I love that. I think he's an incredible director. I'll always stand with him. Yes, he does get a little bit above his station sometimes, but everything he produces is really interesting. It's really engaging. It's really powerful, and it's really necessary cinema.
Great work. You can tell how much control he's got of the whole thing.
Yeah, he just knows what it's going to be. But he knows what it's not going to be, which is more important.
Very much. And it's not going to be Taylor Sheridan's script.
No.
That's what it's not going to be.
No, it's not.
In his previous film was Prisoners, which, as we said, also shot by Roger Deakins. And Deakins said both films belong to the same cinematic alphabet, as he described it.
Nice.
Both the movies wanted to embrace nature, and he switched the dark, depressing fall light for the harsh light of the Chihuahua Desert. He said it was very harsh, very cruel sunlight.
Cinematic alphabet. I'm stealing that and going forward. If we cut that bit out, and then I'm just going to read.
You're just going to have that.
In future episodes, people don't know that Deakins said that. I'm going to take that. That's great.
It is great. Villeneuve was motivated to direct Sicario as a geopolitical commentary, the impact of politics and international affairs on geography. He took particular inspiration from the likes of Zero Dark 30 and The Hurt Locker. I think you can see that in the colour palette alone.
The Hurt Locker, definitely. When it just cuts to a wide shot for seemingly no reason. You're like, okay, yes,
that's right. That's
yeah.
So Villeneuve proving that he's got the goods to back up his burgeoning reputation with Sicario. Expertly played.
Absolutely.
The cast.
A real strong 3-horse race in the cast. The morally questionable father figures are coming up, but sat right between them is the idealistic FBI agent Kate Mesa. And we've got just the man to talk about her incredible performance. Matt, over to you.
Yes, excellent, like she always is. Of the bad Emily Blunt films, probably not that many, but some. But are the bad Emily Blunt performances? Never.
No.
Never. I mean, if anyone isn't a patron, sign up and you can hear us talk about this and A Quiet Place, where we go into both of her performances. But this is one of her very best. And the interesting thing about Kate as a character is she spends so much of this film as a reactive character. She's not driving the narrative. She's along for the ride because she is the audience. She's representing us. And if she's confused about something and in the dark, we should be in the dark and confused at the same time.
A lot of the times we don't see things until she sees things, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And if she gets disturbed by it, that tells us, well, we need to be disturbed by it because if it's freaking her out, it should definitely freak us out as well. I mean, we've talked about the drive over the border into Mexico. So much of that is just down to her facial reactions, again, with no dialogue.
Yeah.
Not saying anything, but every thought again, what am I doing here? What's going on? Who's this guy? Why am I involved? And the other interesting thing is the fact that she's leading this film as a female character, because I think in the wrong hands, with the wrong bit of casting, with the wrong bit of direction, the wrong bit of writing, Kate could come across as weak or stupid or naive and just anything but. She is maybe a bit naive, but that's the point. You know, and her unease at everything going on around her, that's what fuels the tension in the film. So when you put a character like her, who is definitely smart, definitely capable of stepping up in action when the moment calls for it, you know, she has no problem pulling a gun on Del Toro. She gets into it with Matt at the end as well. When she realizes just how shaded they are. Put a character like her in a situation like this, that just elevates the story and the tension to a massive degree. And Blunt just sells every little bit of Kate as a character brilliantly. It's just a wonderful, wonderful performance.
It's like, tell me you're Clarice Starling without telling me you're Clarice Starling, right?
Yeah. And without seeming like an inferior copy of Clarice Starling
Exactly.
as well.
It's like a sister or something.
Yeah, totally is. Yeah.
I think the fact that I'm not thinking about Clarice Starling when I'm watching this is credit to her performance that she makes it her own.
Because it is basically on paper.
I love that moment right at the start when she's asked by the guy what she wants him to say to the US attorney. And she replies, the truth.
The truth, yeah.
That may as well be Kate's middle name.
Yeah, you know where you are, don't you, straight away?
Yeah, absolutely love it.
And Villeneuve had seen Blunt in the young Victoria and was convinced that she was the person for this role. She took the role despite giving birth to her daughter only 4 months prior to filming Sicario.
Wow. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah.
The writer of Sicario, Taylor Sheridan, based Kate on an actual person that he spoke to when doing his research. She remains nameless, but she had the equivalent job in real life that Matt, Brolin's character, has in this film.
Oh, really? Okay.
Right, okay.
He said she was 5'4", 105 pounds, but you couldn't tell that she worked at it, and you could see the toll. He thought it was like a fascinating combination of this kind of small-looking individual in this position of absolute power.
Yeah, like a Jack Russell. A furious Jack Russell. Yeah.
Not the comparison I was expecting.
No.
And Blunt's research included spending time with a handful of FBI agents. The shy, loner characteristics she saw in all of the women she spoke to made their way into the character of Kate.
You can tell that she's done her research.
In the original script, there was a nude scene between Kate and Alejandro. She refused to do it, and Del Toro backed that decision. He said that having worked together on The Wolfman a few years earlier, they'd grown close, like brother and sister, and being nude around each other would have been very uncomfortable.
Well, that and the fact that the scene would have been completely unnecessary considering what we got.
Absolutely out of place, yeah.
It's a different film. That's a different film.
It really is. That's an 80s film. So perfect casting for the role of Kate. This is a highlight from Emily Blunt in a career of highlights.
Yeah.
Our second cast member is the man shaking the tree and not giving much information away at all. It is Josh Brolin on familiar ground on the Mexico-US border as Matt Graver. And I say on familiar ground because this film and this performance feels like a distant cousin of No Country for Old Men. We've talked about it already.
Yep.
Both set on the border, both about drugs, both starring Brolin, both shot by Deakins.
Yeah.
There's certainly something familiar about all this. Something which I think Villeneuve knows by casting Brolin, and to an extent Del Toro, considering his part in Soderbergh's Traffic, which covers similar themes, like you said, Westy.
Yeah.
I love the moral ambiguity of Matt. He's clearly a bastard.
Yeah, massive.
Yeah. Who doesn't care about anybody else, really, but he's got that big picture approach, and you can understand that this mission needs somebody like him.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
And at the heart of it, he's doing good, but a lot of his actions point to the contrary to get him to that good place.
Yeah.
I suppose really Brolin doesn't have to do too much at all. He's got no backstory, no arc. He's there to stand in front of Kate and Reggie, give a bit of exposition but not much, add a splash of tough talk, and then the rest of the film he's behaving overly smug like he knows more than anybody else in the room, which of course he does. But he leaves a lasting impression because of this overwhelming screen presence that he has. He doesn't show any aggression in the film. The furthest he goes is with Kate at the end, and that could be argued as, self-defense.
Yeah, it's subduing, isn't it? More than it is attacking, yeah.
But I've got no doubt that he's a mean cat, and that is because it's the visual language which is executed perfectly to give me this impression by Villeneuve, and also because of Brolin's presence. All this despite the casual dress and flip-flops, which, do undermine a tough exterior generally. Yeah. But he's absolutely not to be messed with. He's also probably the most humorous character in the film. The side maybe from Reggie.
Maybe, yeah.
So there are various shades of grey in the character of Matt, and Brolin pulls that off just expertly, not really working with too much from a character point of view, which I think is very impressive.
Yeah, he seems like to be about 4 different characters in one character. You don't quite know who you're going to get each scene.
Yes.
And I think there's a lot of physical presence from him, like you're saying, but he smacks his hands together a lot. Like, come on. And you saw this slap in motion. And I think the flip-flops that you mentioned are very, very important. He just does not care about rules. It doesn't feel like there's anybody that he answers to.
I think the fact that he is wearing flip-flops and he's wearing like a casual open short-sleeve shirt, T-shirt in that official meeting where everybody's got a suit and tie on.
Yeah, and he's just leaning back and not giving a shit.
Yeah.
He's just like, yeah, whatever.
The only person who can pull that off is the only person who doesn't answer to anyone.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Brilliant look.
And Brolin had just worked on Everest, the film, not the mountain itself, obviously. And the shoot had been a bit of a slog. So as such, he turned down the role of Matt Graver just because he wanted some recuperation time. But having worked with him in the past, Roger Deakins reached out personally for him to reconsider because Brolin was the only man in the frame for the role. And Brolin was so moved by Deakins' gesture that he did take the gig.
Nice.
Reach out for the big man. Westy, you'd do that, wouldn't you?
Well, obviously. Want to make him a cup of tea, I'd go and do that.
So with enough screen presence to fill the whole frame, Brolin does a great job of reinforcing the central themes of Sicario.
Yeah, definitely.
Finally, it's over to the Lone Wolf, the menacing mystery of Alejandro Gilic, and Westy, you're the man to talk about him.
Absolutely. I mean, what a performance this is.
Unbelievable.
How much misery, how much pain, how much menace, and how great is Del Toro at doing all of those things at once. It's just so, I mean, just his eyebrows, just when, we talked about that bit on the plane when he wakes up and it's like, yeah, I'm okay. And he's just, the cartels, that's your thing. And you say, yeah. And he's just looking out the window and just, he's just, there's nothing else to do. He's just locked in that shot. And it is just, it's pretty much a head and shoulders. It's a close up.
Yeah.
But the pain that's on his face, the realization that his character has so much behind him, that he's so nasty as well, but we don't see how nasty. He's so focused, but we don't see how focused. And then always in the back of my mind, it always freaks me out that he was a lawyer. And now he's this assassin. He is the Sicario.
Yes.
I mean, he is the antagonist of the film. It is his film. It is about his story. It's his arc. It's about him getting revenge for what's happened to him and his family. It's him getting closure on it, which he never actually gets. So it's not Kate's story. It's got nothing to do with her. It's got everything to do with viewing his story, but seeing the arc from the side. Like, we'd normally see the arc and would be going through it with them over the bridge. This is like sitting on a boat, watching him go over the bridge and watch his arc from the stream and be, oh yeah, it's about him. Now let's join him for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, it is.
And that's how it plays out. And there's no exposition in this film whatsoever until the last 15 minutes. And then it's just explanation. It's not exposition, which is going to tell you what's coming. It's going to be like, something's coming, but you don't know what. And then it's explanation. Even when he's got sunglasses on, you can tell what his eyes are doing. It's massive. I don't know how it works. I don't know how he does it, but he's got such a presence here that doesn't, and I've said this before about many, many actors, but I think Del Toro here absolutely nails it in that he's got such a presence that doesn't take away from anyone else in the scene. It really just adds to it. And, you can tell, when Bernthal looks up and he just goes, shh. Yeah. And he just makes that noise. There would have been a line of dialogue there just being like, hey, motherfucker, or something, or whatever. Taylor Sheridan's right. And it would have just been, then he just went, no, I just went, shh. And that's it. It's that little bit there that you just go, wow. And you just kind of sink down and go, I actually believe Benicio del Toro is capable of doing this in real life.
Yes.
I don't know where he draws the line with like acting, but if he turned up with a gun and I'd be like, I wouldn't go, hey, it's Benicio del Toro, how are you doing? I'd be like, oh, fuck.
What have I done?
What have I done? Which film did I give a 6 to? Like, I can't remember. That's how I'd feel if you turned about it. It's so believable. It's so nuanced. It's so emotional. It's got such weight. It's so heavy, but he carries it with such panache and style. But yeah, just stay miles away from me, please.
It's subtly personified, this performance.
You scared of the dark? Just that line. Yeah. Anyone could say that line, but him saying it, you're like, oh, actually, now I am, yes.
Wasn't wrong, thanks for that.
Yeah, cheers. I didn't think about it to that level, but yeah, now I am.
As we've been alluding to, in the original screenplay, Alejandro had much more dialogue.
Yeah.
The character explained his background to Kate a number of times, which allowed Del Toro to get in the mind of the character, but he also said it felt a little stiff to have someone you met 15 minutes ago suddenly telling you what happened to him and who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Villeneuve then worked with Del Toro to take away the majority of his lines, which was actually around 90% of his dialogue.
Wow.
And Villeneuve said, movies are about movement, character, and presence. Benicio had all that.
Absolutely, yeah.
He absolutely
Fair
does.
enough.
Yeah. Actually, the lines he's got, you'd probably take away another 20%.
Just a silent performance. Yeah.
You could.
Yeah.
You actually could.
Yeah, it's an incredible performance. Less is more in this regard, for
100%.
certain.
Yeah.
As we're talking about the big Benicio, BDT, We've got our second Patreon question, and this one comes from Catherine Price. Hello, Catherine.
Hello, Catherine.
Hello, Catherine.
Catherine says, "Hi, lads. Exciting to see one of the double feature wins getting the classic treatment." Well, we're all excited about
time.
it.
Yep. Sorry,
You're welcome.
so long. Yeah.
I'll stick to my guns.
This
that's
is
fine.
number 3, though, isn't it? There's been Carlito's Way, Cuckoo's Nest, and now this.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's about a 7% hit rate so far.
7%. That's it's pretty high for us.
And it can't be a recent one, obviously.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
really
We've got to
cut
let the
point,
dust
so.
settle a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyhow, Catherine says, Benicio del Toro may not always be in the best movies, but more often than not, he's the best part of whatever he's in. And yet,
Yeah,
after his banner year of Traffic and Snatch in 2000, Benicio's notable mainstream roles have been few and far between, with Sicario arguably at the top of the list. Now, 10 years later, he's leading the next Wes Anderson film and co-starring with Lucky Leo in the next PTA film.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Catherine says, what do you make of the gaps in his mainstream career? Is Benicio being selective or being overlooked? She also wants to know what our underrated Benicio performances are. And she says, as we enter what I hope is Benicio's leading man era, what roles or collaborations would you like to see him in? Whew, she says, thanks for all you do. Now go ahead and finish your meal.
It's cold now, Catherine. Thanks very much.
She actually, her question and her passage was much bigger than that, but she gave us carte blanche to edit around that. So we could have been still talking.
She's obviously a huge fan. So
Yeah, bless you. Okay, let's answer these 3 questions.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Yeah. So Matt, go for it.
Yes.
3 questions from Catherine. Shoot.
Okay, so I think he just has to be selective because there's not a director working today who wouldn't want him in a film.
100%.
Surely. He just has that presence that he just only does what he's going to enjoy. And if that means he takes a couple of years off, he'll take a couple of years off.
Yeah.
Underrated, I'm going to go with Sin City because I don't think that film gets really viewed as an actor's film. It kind of gets viewed, I think, what Rodriguez does on screen. You know, and then doing a whole scene with like a magazine stuck in his head from a gun. That's basically
it's not Time Out, is it either, Matt? It's a
No, like a good magazine. I should have specified. Definitely. That would have been really, really odd if it had been that.
The Viz.
Roles or collaborations. I mean, to be honest, I just want them to constantly be working with anyone. So anyone good, to be honest. I mean, we've kind of talked about Wes Anderson in the past. I'm more interested in Wes Anderson's new film because of Del Toro than anything else, I'll be honest.
I agree with that.
I totally agree with that.
A particular role, I mean, honestly, anything, but he'd be a surprise pick as the next James Bond, but I'd be there for it.
Ooh.
Yeah, can you imagine?
At the end of Sicario for 2 hours.
He's been in, what was he in, License to Kill?
License to Kill, yeah. Give a nice
honeymoon.
Yeah. Ridiculous performance.
I'd love that.
Really fun.
I'd love that, actually, yeah.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yep.
And Westy, Catherine's questions.
Yeah, okay. So being selective, I think when he did Che Part 1 and Part 2 with Soderbergh, I think that took a lot of wind out of his sails. I think they thought that was going to be massive, and I think it kind of bombed a little bit unnecessarily so. It was a very ambitious project.
Well, it's all in Spanish as well, isn't it?
And it is all in Spanish. I mean, come on, guys. And, and it's a 2-parter that was kind of all filmed at the same time.
Yeah.
Did the Wolfman, came back 2 years later. Again, not massive, and he's just kind of dipping his toe a little bit. Inherent Vice, not massive in 2014, and then he comes back with Sicario, which I think he's ready in 2015 to come back again. Underrated performance, The Way of the Gun, for me, every single time.
Yes, you love that one, don't you?
Wonderful in that film. Really, really understated. Really, really brilliant. Underrated film.
Was it Macquarie?
Overall, really. Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Usual Suspects, I think he's wonderful in that. He's very, very minimal role, but Henry the Keys and Cox, like, what the fuck?
He's hilarious,
absolutely fucking brilliant. He's still on a fucking track. It's fucking great.
You hear me in the back?
Hello. It's
Hello.
It's absolutely brilliant. In Fear and Loathing, I think he's wonderful in that. Really, really great.
Great.
And for future collaborations, and I mean, I'm really excited, like you, Matt, to see him in a Wes Anderson film, to be honest. I'm really excited to see him in a Paul Thomas Anderson film, to be honest. Again, after Inherent Vice. Yeah. But I'd love to see him back with Villeneuve in Dune Part 3 as like a really baddie role.
All right, great.
I think Del Toro would really get his teeth into something like that. So I think that'd be great.
Yeah, great. I don't think he's being overlooked, to be honest. I think he's just a bit choosy.
Yeah.
He may not have a permanent physical presence, but he'll never be out of mind because he's just too damn good.
He is, yeah.
And I do agree with Catherine. He elevates anything that he's in. He's a standout in anything.
Yeah.
Underrated performance, like you, Matt. I'm not too sure if it's underrated, but I think he's the best performer in Sin City.
Yeah.
We talked about that in Double Feature. But one that I really like that came and went was the film Basquiat. about the artist Jean-Michel Basquiat.
Oh, yeah, right.
Wow,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah,
That's
it's a blast
a
from the
deep
past.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a deep cut. Jeffrey Wright plays the lead, plays Basquiat, obviously. Del Toro plays his best friend, and it's a great performance, and it's an outstanding supporting cast. If you've not seen it, just have a look at the cast. You'll be blown away. It's a hidden gem of a film as well.
For a while. Yeah, I'm going to check that
long
out,
time,
actually.
same, yeah.
It's great. And roles, we all know he can play the brooding menace. He loves that one.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd like to see him play a bit more for laughs. We know he can do it in Snatch.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So yeah, playing a bit more for laughs, a Soderbergh knockabout comedy caper maybe, with Del Toro in the lead. That's what I'm hoping for. I really like him in Soderbergh films. He was good in No Sudden Move a few years back.
Yeah.
Right.
He'd be good in like an Ocean's reboot with
That's what I've got in my mind, Westy.
Yeah, in an Ocean's reboot, that'd be
Fantastic.
great. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks very much for the question, Catherine.
Thank you,
Much
Catherine.
appreciated.
Thank you, Catherine.
Yes, thank you for the 3 questions.
Thanks for the effort you put into it.
Yeah,
Yes,
the
thank you so
context.
much. That was great.
Our
Great
effort
that.
has been just as good for you.
Yeah.
And with that, we're at the end of our discussion on the cast. Not forgetting Daniel Kaluuya, of course, but in Blunt, Brolin, and Del Toro, Sicario has got one of the best 3-way leads of any film since the turn of the century.
No, without a shadow of a doubt.
Mm-hmm. All Right Movies will be right back. Thank you for supporting us by listening to the sponsors for this episode. Thank you for listening to our sponsors, and now it's back to the show.
The middle.
The second act of the film brings literal and metaphorical fireworks, and we're starting with the less than scrupulous interrogation tactics on Guillermo.
Mm-hmm.
Graver starts us off in his typical languid style. No hablo inglés. He's so smug when he says that he's got an old buddy on his way. And that old buddy obviously is Alejandro, who's outside at the water cooler, just wetting his whistle.
Yeah.
And going back to what we said about Alejandro in the previous scene, this dialogue between him and his old buddy is very, very telling. The guy says, I'm sorry about what happened on your return. I can control only what I can. Now, if he's talking about the beheading of his wife and his child being dropped in acid, then this is a very casual approach.
Yeah.
Then he's going to talk about his own family, and Alejandro's unmoved, despite how much rage is bubbling under the surface. It's powerful restraint from Del Toro, and really plays well on repeat viewings. He's clearly a sensitive man, and at his heart, a nice guy, I think. But all that changes when he gets into that interrogation room.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I love when he gets in there, Guillermo's reaction. Alejandro comes through the door, and he even looks to Matt for solace, who he's been given the old no hablo inglés.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody threatened by a bottle of water before. This scene is just so effective because it's what you don't see. You just hear a couple of grunts, a bit of movement. What could he possibly be doing to him? Obviously. When that video camera is switched off, we know we're morally all over the place.
Yeah.
Let's go outside. And Kate knows what's going on here as well. Later, when Graver tells her that Guillermo told them about the tunnels, she says, oh, really, he just gave you that information, did he? This scene isn't showing us anything we haven't seen before in movies, but it really stands out because of the performances and that terrifying water bottle that is just slapped on the floor. No. It's a great sequence.
It is a great sequence, but I do have a theory about this that
Oh,
has
here
been
we go.
spoken about, and people have been talking about it. And the more I've watched it, the more this kind of rings with me about how dark some of this is that you don't see. Now, I think this is a rape sequence. In that's what happened to him when he came back. He's not talking about his wife dying and his daughter dying. I think he was abused by these guys to keep him quiet, and it was to dehumanize him. And he walks into the room, just hear us out. So he walks into the room, his crotch is in this guy's face. It's very sexually demanding. It's very much forceful on this guy.
Okay, yeah.
And if he wants to dehumanize him, what's the best way to do it? No, I don't think Alejandro sodomizes him personally. I think he maybe uses a chair leg, he uses something else. So, I mean, why would a Delta guy leave the room? We've just seen him wipe out 4 people in cold blood without thinking twice. He loves what they do. He's seeing bodies hanging from the bridge. He's seen it all before. He's turning off the video camera. Why do they need to turn that off if he's walking past everybody with a water bottle? He puts the water bottle down, and it's just a little bit of a decoy to show people, oh, this is actually what I'm going to do. But what I might actually do is far worse than that. And that's why Matt's there. Give him a hand with it. What are you looking at me for? And you can tell Matt is such a bastard that he'll do anything to dehumanize these people. He'll do anything to make them feel bad. And the thing that got me was that we see that drain and the water isn't opened.
No.
And the start on him, and you hear the grunting, you hear him, it's rhythmic, it's already there. And being Villeneuve, what he does is he cuts to that drain, and who else cuts to a circular window with water involved? Is Hitchcock and Marnie. And that's that famous rape sequence.
Okay.
And he cuts to the same circle, and the water's not going down there. So we're showing that it's not water torture. We're showing that it's got nothing to do with the water. It's something completely different. It's something darker. It's something worse.
Brilliant. Good argument, good theory. Very grim, and whatever happens to Guillermo, I'm sure it is not
count on me
pleasant.
for the grim shit.
Classic Westy.
And then you get a scene after this, and it's a very quick scene, to be honest, but it does need talking about, and it's when Kate goes on the roof of the facility because she's already so disorientated by everything. She's out there, she's started smoking again. It's the only thing that calms it down now. So when that guy comes up to her, do you like fireworks? I mean, yes. Yeah. Doesn't everyone? Is this a pickup line? Am I getting hit on here by a guy? But then after everything she's been through, when he says, do you want to see something cool? It's yes. Definitely, yes, please. Something that's just cool would be great to see at this point.
Do you want to see me feed a mouse to my snake? Yes.
You want to see another headless corpse hanging off a bridge? Not really.
Not really.
In the first, you think, it's just going to be the amazing vista that you can see from that vantage top. And, the clouds are obviously incredible, but no, it's this sporadic gunfire. This is what happens when you chop the head off a chicken. Yeah. And so for the gunfire and the explosions to be happening openly in such a small town just brings it home how out of control this whole scenario is.
Incredible visuals.
So after that, we see Reggie turn up. He's offered them a ride. They're going to Tucson, and he's going to have to drive for 100 miles. It's going to take 2 hours. And we don't quite know why. But we need to find out where the tunnel is. We need to find out people who've been through it. We need to find out what's going on so they can pinpoint the location, which after, many, many viewings, it becomes very, very obvious. But on your first view, when you think, what are we doing here? What's the point? Is this another red herring? Is this throwing Kate off again? Is this throwing Reggie off again? What are they actually doing here? Are they looking for somebody? Is somebody in here? But I think what Villeneuve does is he shows a real human touch here. These people aren't dangerous. These people are scared. They're not dirty. They're not violent. They're not clutching at people. They're not making a big scene. They're just trying to get away from this hell and go to something that's got a bit more of a promise to it. And it's just this it's a heart-wrenching scene for me because you can just see it in all of the faces of just I nearly got there and I've had to come back. And it's the humanity that's also played by Del Toro in this. He's like, let us see your hands. So you know how hard they've worked. If you've got any tattoos, are you part of a cartel? Are you part of something else? No. And he's just got this real humility and this real calm and this real sense of patience and understanding with everybody. And I just find that really, really wonderful. And that's just that from what we've seen previously from a torture sequence, however you interpret that torture sequence, and he's gone to this real sense of humility and humanity, which he does with Kate as well when he finds out what she's been through and has the neck, and he's kind of just there and he's constantly just, I'm okay, how are you?
Yes.
He's got this real back and forth. But Kaluuya here really stands out. And she's like, I've asked all these questions. Think you can do any better? He's like, yeah. She's like, go on then, Matt. And he's like, straight away. I just love that delivery. It's absolutely brilliant. Like, he comes over and he's like, there's keeping us in the dark, then there's the way you're treating us. But then when Brolin comes over and he's got that whole bravado, whoa, you look so defensive. Whoa. And he's chewing the gums. All right, what do you want to know? But he's always looking at Alejandro and he's like, how much can I say? How far can I go with this? And you can tell he's kind of just giving him the eye, just going, yeah, tell him about the tunnel. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, just go that far.
Yeah.
And he's like, right, okay, is that enough? Will that do for you? It's brilliant. And then you just get that whole, right, okay, we're great here. That's fine. Yeah, that's okay. But don't keep us in the dark. And then you get that, he's scared of the dark.
Yeah.
Just that line, just that delivery in the walkway.
Great.
Just get yourself back. We'll get our own ride. It's fine. We don't actually need you. You're just here as a necessity. You're just a tool.
Yeah.
You're
a pawn in the game.
Yeah, you're just the chalk on the hand so I can lift the weights up.
It's also got an amazing payoff line to end the scene as well. When Reggie and Kate are walking away, Reggie says, who the fuck is Guillermo?
That's brilliant.
I'd say that in typical Villeneuve fashion, the film is short on laughs, but that's a really good line.
Yeah, that's a really good one. Yeah.
So Kate and Reggie have been given a bit more information, but Reggie is probably more in the dark than Kate at this point.
Yeah, unfortunately.
The next day sees Matt shaking more trees, with Kate not fully up to speed with his methods. And we're starting at Kate's place. Over to you, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to pick up from Westy's point really about Kaluuya, because his performance really needs to be talked about.
Definitely.
I mean, probably the one that really put him on the Hollywood map, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
He's probably just a lot of British TV before this.
It was, yeah.
He's also great. And I think he and Blunt have such an implicit bond in this film.
Yeah.
Totally get each other's backs. The fact that she will walk away if he walks away, despite the fact Matt doesn't care. You know, I didn't ask you here, but Blunt backs him all the way. I love the fact there's no forced romantic subplot between the two of them, or even hinted at.
Yeah.
And he's so dependable. He's always there for her, whether it's the meeting at the beginning or when he drives her to the base where he's not allowed in, but he doesn't kick off. He doesn't make a big stink. He takes his ego out of the situation, right? I've dropped you off. I'll drive back. And then you get this scene at Kate's place, which, you know, we've said not a lot of laughs here, but it is probably one of the best bits of light relief in the film. I mean, I say light relief. Kate's looking at loads of pictures of dead bodies here.
Yeah.
But
at least we're not seeing them. At least it's a picture of it.
yeah. And her reactions. But it's light relief because Reggie knows how to take her mind off it. You know, we've referenced the line a couple of times now, but it's the fact that she's half undressed and walking around. And when he says, "Gotta get you a new bra, woman."
Yeah.
Because he somehow makes it not sleazy. That could be such a sleazy line.
Yeah.
But because there's this friendship between them, it's not. And for the first time in the film, she genuinely laughs at something, like the list of things I need. And, you know, I'm just saying, some nice lazy something. It's just such a little break for the character that she needs. And it's just this very quick but very effective insight into Kate's life, into their partnership. As she says, it's been a long time since anyone but Reggie saw her in a bra, which I think just speaks volumes about those two. You know,
it's heartbreaking for her as well. And it's like this real brother and sister kind of relationship.
That's what it's like.
Yeah.
It is brother and sister, because there's a line. And you know Reggie's not going to go anywhere near that line with her.
Nah,
it's
not interested whatsoever.
Not interested whatsoever. Yeah. It's the type of conversation you can only have in this job with someone you completely trust and who respects boundaries. You know, she knows he won't take advantage of how lonely she is in her personal life, so it's a really important scene.
It's like when he says, "Do you want us to stay?" You know, after the whole incident, she's like, "No, it's okay." But you know for a fact if he stayed, it wouldn't be anything to do with that.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, it's a real great character scene between the two of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so from there, but we need to know what's going on. I think Reggie's got a little bit more fire in his belly, and he needs to kind of really get to the grips of this. He's getting a bit pissed off, isn't he? He's like, "Come on, what is going on?" And we get to go to the motel room where the Mexicans are telling, you know, the guys exactly what they need to know, exactly where they need to be, exactly where the tunnel is. But it's just so funny. What's the password? Moron. You know, that's just so funny. And then we're already in, and it's a little bit bad, but then, you know, Matt just kind of pushes her away and says, "No, you can't go any further than this."
Yeah.
It's about as far as you can go. She turns around, and as all of this is getting spilled, we're getting all this exposition, she turns to Reggie and she's like, "Are you getting this?" He's like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
And you know he's getting it.
I love that.
You know he's getting all of it. He's like, "Yeah, I'm getting it. I'm paying attention because this matters." And it's the Mexican guy's reaction to, "This is our spot." Whoa.
Yeah, they're like,
no,
whoa.
fucking no chance, man. It's like, this is ridiculous. It's going to be dangerous. We know it's going to be dangerous. We know it's going to be powerful. We know, like, he's telling the truth. It's going to be a great day. You know, it's going to be a good day. And Matt's excited about it, and he's up for it, and Alejandro's up for it. I think at that point we'll have this real sense of relief and humour, but then it's shrouded in one of the darkest moments of the whole film. It was like, this is where we need to go, and it's going to be really, really dangerous. And we've found it, and they're excited about it, and two characters who we're following don't have any idea how dangerous it's going to be.
Yeah.
And all the Mexicans are going, "Don't go there.
Yeah.
No way. That's ridiculous. And can you point it out on the map?" Right, we know where we're going. We know where it needs to be. We know it's going to be dangerous. Are we going to go? Well, we have to.
Yeah. Great little exposition scene.
Yeah.
Now, the moment I like follows this, it's the bank. Matt says that he's going to fuck with Manuel Diaz's wallet, and he asks Kate to enlist her pals in Phoenix SWAT. Great. And this goes back to what he said to Kate earlier. He's shaking the tree again to make chaos. This is the noise that'll send Diaz back over to Mexico for a dressing down from his boss.
Yeah.
It's dirty tactics, but it's effective.
Oh, yeah.
And Kate isn't quite up to speed with what's going on here.
Not really.
Even though her intentions are very good and her training is kicked in, she thinks it's something they can actually build a case on. She cannot see the bigger picture and the point of Matt's actions. If they get to Diaz's boss, then Diaz doesn't exist. She doesn't understand that you have to cut it off its source. because she thinks, build a case and, we've got a genuine case, we can put him behind bars.
God knows how many times that's been tried. Yeah,
Exactly. And somebody will just replace Diaz.
Yeah.
It reinforces her idealistic nature, her naivety, and her willingness to do what's right. And what that gets her is in deep shit with Diaz, because now she's on camera in the bank, in the black and white security, and Ted will be sent in to take advantage later. Horrific stuff.
Don't go in the bank. There she is, going in the bank.
Matt says, don't go in the bank, don't go in the bank. And she will not listen to him.
But that's Matt, isn't it? He doesn't stop her from going in. He's thinking, how can I take advantage of this moment?
Yes.
Yeah.
What will I get from this?
Yeah.
I've told you not to go in. So things are becoming a bit more clear, and unbeknownst to Kate, she's used herself as bait.
Yeah.
The crew.
The crew on Sicario is a mix of frequent Villeneuve collaborators and first-time screenwriter Taylor Sheridan, and that's where we're starting. Sheridan had been in acting since the 90s, most notably in Sons of Anarchy on TV.
Yeah.
So his first screenplay kind of came out of the blue. Westy, what do you think of the writing on Sicario?
I mean, it doesn't feel like it's come out of the blue.
It doesn't.
And I think from the screenplay, it does seem like it's very generic from the start of, like, you get Alejandro's backstory, you get a lot of dialogue, you get a lot of explanation, but you don't get a lot of exposition. And I think what Taylor Sheridan's done with this script is that I think because of his TV background, he was kind of allergic to exposition, which is what he said in interviews, that he wanted to do something from a different angle. And that's what I would approach this with. I think it is a story we've seen a million times.
Yes.
It is a revenge story. It is John Wick, but from Kate's point of view.
Yeah.
I think there's some really good dialogue. I think it is very well researched. Look, if you finish an acting career, right, which isn't massively successful, and you're in your 40s and you write a screenplay and it's picked up by Denis Villeneuve, then you were like, well, that's all right, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Jackpot.
I mean, that's not too bad, because there's a lot in this screenplay that really, really works, and it's taken Denis Villeneuve to come and go, I'm leaving this out, by the way, and it makes it more interesting. But being his first screenplay, he didn't know that. He wouldn't know that. And he's learned so many lessons since writing this. If you look at how much he leaves out of Yellowstone, how much he leaves out of them stories, and how much you have to fill in yourself, the whole process has made him a better writer. But from the offset, it's a very, very strong script that I think could have been made by anybody. But if it was made by a different director, it would have been a very, very different approach and a very, very different story.
Yeah,
so I think
it would
he's
have been a different film.
Very lucky with the director that he's landed on. But the source material is as good as anything else you would have seen in the last, 30 years. I think it's really, really strong.
Yeah, it is strong, yeah. And he struck gold with the director as well.
Yeah.
A great marriage. What do you think of the writing, Matt?
I think I'd be interested to know what the reaction to this film in Mexico itself was, because there's a lot of tropes at play here that I think, like, if I was Mexican, I think I'd be sick of seeing them. Like, there's more to Mexico than poverty and violent drug cartels.
Yes.
Yeah.
I said at the top that I wasn't that fussed on this film when it first came out, but I've done the 180 on it. And I think the writing is the main part of the film that I still can't quite change my opinion on. And it's a similar path to Westy, really. It's the fact that it is very reliant on tropes, and ultimately it doesn't really take me on a journey I haven't been on before.
Yeah.
So the CIA are up to some shady stuff in other countries. I've seen that. The drug smuggling business is morally complex and ambiguous. Yes, I've seen that. People you think you can trust will pull a gun on you at a moment's notice. I've seen that. And that's the issue for me. It's certainly not badly written. I mean, the dialogue absolutely sings. It's got a very strong arc to it, a very strong narrative backbone. It's just in terms of plot and narrative, there's no real, like, emotional journey for me to really kind of hang on to here.
Yeah, I get that.
But,
that's a good point, yeah.
But the positive way I want to spin it, though, is that because I've done a 180, once I kind of really sat and thought about this film, thought, it's the writing that just lets it down a bit for me. That's when I was really able to appreciate everything else in this film a lot more. You know, those performances are doing a lot to fill in the blanks of the writing, and that's how they're so good. Deakins makes this film look 1,000 times more unique than the writing makes it seem.
Yeah.
Villeneuve elevates this way above what it could have been, which it could have been just something dumped on Netflix that no one would ever go back to. Some people might watch it, but most people wouldn't hear of it.
I think 5 years later, if it was made in 2020, it would just be dumped on Netflix.
Exactly. That's
only a series, which is what Taylor Sheridan's really good at doing.
Yeah. I mean, that might be his strength. So for me, that's where the level of the writing is. It's fine up to a point, but everyone else involved gets to that point and then ensures that their work is elevated above it.
Yeah, I take your points for certain. I think what sets it apart is Probably what you were saying, Westy, a different spin on a conventional story.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very familiar, Matt. And there's nothing too much new from like a narrative point of view.
No.
But it is taking a view from like a 90-degree angle. And Kate is the blue-eyed law enforcer who wants to do the job well and right. Reggie's on her side too. The rest of the characters are drawn completely differently. So I really like the ambiguity in the characters. Nothing new, but I like the way that it's written here.
Yeah.
I don't know, like the other characters, is it because they're older with more experience? They've been battle-hardened by the job and have worked out the only way to survive in this world? Are Kate and Reggie too wet behind their ears to understand this? It certainly takes them a good long while to get up to speed. And then Alejandro and Matt are morally ambiguous. They're on the perceived right side, and their main objective seems to be a positive one. But to be able to achieve this objective, they have to do terrible things like kidnap, torture, and murder. So how can those three things equate to the good guys?
Yeah.
But with all the information presented in the film, I think we'd all argue that we are on their side.
Oh, yeah.
And by the end, Kate is so ground down and backed into a corner by this apparent law enforcement system that she signs something that she doesn't believe in, making her complicit in their dirty dealings. She's now on the other side of the fence and changed forever. So I think the writing asks you questions about your moral fibre. What would you do? Can anybody be as idealistic as Kate and survive in this world? Everyone's got shades of grey, and the writing really brings that out for me.
Yeah, exactly. It does question your morals, and it does say at the end, you can't survive here. This is a world of wolves, and you're not a wolf.
Yeah, and you're not a wolf, exactly, yeah. Which, again, good dialogue. That's a really good line. It could have been a little cheesy.
Yeah, it could have been.
But because it's coming from Del Toro.
Yeah.
So as we said, Sheridan was working on Sons of Anarchy when he started to get the itch to write a screenplay. He started to get interested in character development and motivations and how that had an impact on the whole narrative.
Yeah, he took a gutsy move of quitting his TV gig and writing this screenplay. He heavily researched the controversial subject matter, starting off reading online articles and blogs. He later travelled down to Mexico to conduct interviews. However, he does remain tight-lipped about some of his research, which I'm not fucking surprised about.
No, he's going to be hanging naked in Juarez.
Yeah.
It knows its subject matter. I love the confidence of the writing there.
Oh, massively, yeah. Even the dialogue between the Delta Force is just like, my turn, there's this, there's gun here, there's this. And so it totally makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
And he also said, there's a certain amount of how I did some research that I'm not sharing with anyone. People who are in Mexico who I spoke with for clear reasons. I'm just leaving all that out.
Of course. I think protecting himself and others as well.
Yeah.
But he didn't have an agent. Once it was written, he sent it to an attorney who had negotiated a few deals from him in the past. He read it and gave it to some agents that he knew, and it grew from there. Massive.
Yeah, I know. Ballsy move.
And initially, nobody wanted to touch it because of its subject, and he said it was toxic to financiers. Sheridan also came under pressure to change the character of Kate to a man because a lot of meetings he took insisted on that change. But he was adamant that the character should be female based on what we said earlier, that she is based on an actual person.
Yeah, that's crazy, that.
That changes the game. That changes the whole film.
Changes
It's a man
thing.
for the worse. It finally landed on the desk of Basil Iwanek, who sent it to producer Molly Smith, who sent it to Denis Villeneuve, who loved it. And that was that.
Wow.
And by the time Sicario went into production, Sheridan had already sold another half a dozen scripts. He was just banging them out.
For Sheridan, Sicario is the first part of his American frontier thematic trilogy. The second is, as we've talked about, Hell or High Water. And the third is Wind River, which he also directed.
Yeah, all great films.
Yeah, all great films.
And in the last 10 years, he's probably been the most prolific creator in movies and TV. His writing credits include Without Remorse, the Sicario sequel, as well as those two that you've just mentioned, Westy. On TV, he was the creator, director, writer of Yellowstone and its spin-offs, Tulsa King, Landman, Mayor of Kingstown, among others. Prolific doesn't come into it.
All really great as well.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. But for his writing debut, he does solid work, adding a new spin to very familiar ground.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Next is Icelandic music maestro Jóhann Jóhannsson, the composer so nice they named him twice. This was his second of 3 collaborations with Villeneuve, following Prisoners and preceding Blade Runner 2049. However, his work wasn't used for that film.
No.
But it was on Sicario to devastating effect.
Yes.
That opening with that title card and the explanation of the word Sicario.
Yeah.
You mentioned at the top, Westy. The score comes in quietly and then thunders to a pulsing crescendo, immediately putting you on edge. And I don't think it lets up for the next 2 hours. the tenseness that I feel inside my chest doesn't leave until the credits roll.
Yeah.
I think it's a troubling score, as in it gives such a huge sense of danger. Like something bad is permanently happening in this world that we're living in for these 2 hours.
It's constant, isn't it?
It will not let up. It plays over those incredible Deakins frames and adds so much powerful menace to everything. And, it's not really a score, is it? It's more like it's woven into the tapestry. It's like an atmosphere. Mm-hmm. Like it's all part of the sound design. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's nothing in the way of a narrative or character theme, no jaunty little music cues here and there, obviously not. It just gives the film an unholy, nasty edge.
Yeah.
And just the sense of relief when it finishes is palpable. But it's so effective.
I mean, I completely agree. I'd hesitate to even call it a score.
Because it's more sound, isn't it?
It is. It's more subliminal than that.
Yeah.
And like you two, I would just mention the way it starts with that production logo and the repetitive drum sounds like a heartbeat. And it is the lifeblood of the film in a lot of ways. And no, not the type of score that's been written with the idea of earworms in mind. You're not humming this stuff afterwards. But I think that's the point. No. It lies at a level in the mix in the film where it's about adding to the tension of the scene. You don't listen to the music here. You experience it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But one thing about Sicario is people come out of it really talking about the score. And when it's so atonal as it is, I think that's quite remarkable how it comes across.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very much. Because there isn't anything to hang on to, like from like any earworms or anything like that. All I've got is just the sound of dread in my ears thinking back to what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Westy, your thoughts on the score?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about Jóhannsson before. Me and Matt have. We talked about it with John when we did the Arrival episode. And we already explained then how subconscious that score felt.
Yeah.
How he invented a language and intertwined that language with something that was just completely new. And I think he does the same here, even though he's got something that would be quite generic that you would expect to have. It's Mexico. What do you think the soundtrack should be? Oh, okay. Right, it should be that, like what Robert Rodriguez does with Dusk Till Dawn. It's
The Los Lobos is not here.
No, exactly. No. Yeah. No. I mean, there's none of that, we need to reinforce anything. It's not reinforcing the visual, it's reinforcing the emotion, like you've both said. It's reinforcing, but it's really subliminal the way it's done. It's in your subconscious, like it's just behind your eyes. It's really reinforcing things, and you don't hear it. There's no real theme. He never had written a theme, and I don't think that was his way of approaching work. I think his way of approaching work was very textural, was very thoughtful, was very emotional, and in doing that was very understated, but at the same time very powerful. Like if you listen to this away from the film, it's terrifying. You can listen to this. I listened to this driving back from work today, and I thought everyone was out to get us, like seriously. And I go through the time tunnel, which feels like the Mexican border sometimes because you're backed up in traffic. You have to go through the tunnel, and it was just this dum dum. And I was like, should I be listening to this? Because I'm looking over my shoulder and I'm just thinking, like, Jesus Christ, what is going on? But it just builds and it just bubbles in the back of your head. But the score for Sicario is probably one of the best in the way that it's intertwined. It reminds us of very much of, like we've said, horror films. It reminds very much of Nightmare on Elm Street. It reminds me very much of Hellraiser. It reminds me very much of just setting that tone and that unease.
Yes.
But he did it with such an ease, it seems, that it was just so easy for him just to plug into the visual and make it so much darker than it seems. I mean, we open in Arizona, but it feels like you're in hell.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, it's incredible.
It's just incredible work.
It is.
And Villeneuve told Jóhannsson that he wanted the score to feel like a threat coming from under your feet, deep under the surface of the scorched earth of the Chihuahua Desert. And he actually used the Jaws score as an example and played that as temp music when editing the film. Which I can see working, for that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I can see that working.
Just think of like the Arizona landscape, and then as soon as the guys walk in, it's like,
totally.
Totally. Okay, I've got it. So to get the desired effect, Jóhannsson uses 65-piece orchestra, all on the low end of the musical register, all on the bass end.
Yeah.
Jóhannsson said it's almost the sound of the drug tunnels are featured in the story. So you can hear them, you can feel them. It's the resonation, it's the reverb, it's everything that's brought into the sound design. It just totally works.
It reinforces the visuals.
Yeah, massively.
Jóhannsson said that his score is like the throbbing heart of a beast charging at you. He and Villeneuve agreed that the music needed to be relentless and evoke a sense of insistent violence.
Yeah,
which, I
beats
mean,
charging
nailed.
at you in slow motion, and you can hear its heartbeat, and you know it's going to tear your face off, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Terrifying. Sadly, Jóhannsson died well before his years in 2018.
Yeah.
But with his Oscar-nominated score for Sicario and his other works, he's left behind an incredible legacy.
Definitely.
He has, yeah.
Finally, the cinematographer we've probably talked about the most on the podcast, yours and everybody's, Roger Deakins.
Yes.
Probably the greatest living cinematographer who picked up the obligatory Best Cinematography Oscar nomination for his efforts here.
Yeah.
Villeneuve said he has the pressure of being Roger Deakins on every shot, which I thought was a fantastic quote.
Yeah.
Yep, that nails it. Yep.
So how does he manage that, Matt? Your thoughts on Deakins' work here?
The thing for me is I don't think this would seem particularly visually interesting on the page.
No.
If anything, like say, maybe a bit cliched. We've seen plenty of films in Mexico, plenty of shootouts, plenty of CIA raids on houses. But what Deakins does is make it seem like we've not seen any of this before. Really interesting when he shoots wides for characters having conversations. Such an unusual choice, like when Kate and Matt do it, when they get across the border and she's kicking off at him.
Yes.
His shooting of the landscape, his shooting of the natural light, quoting this film in this darkness. The shot that will always just forever live in my mind comes towards the end when we're getting towards the tunnel scene, which we'll talk about, but the soldiers are walking down an incline, but it looks like they're being swallowed up into the earth because it's in silhouette. Like I said, in terms of the writing, there's nothing really special in there for me, but everything around it is special in this film, and that's never more true than what Deakins brings here.
Yeah, incredible work. Westy, I mean, obviously, you're a fan. Thoughts on Deakins here?
I mean, look, this work that he's done, and it's incredible, and this work is incredible, and it's absolutely fantastic. And we can say that there was this shot here, and he did this shot, and he did this out, and Villeneuve did this. This is a true collaboration between two visionary artists.
Yeah, I agree.
And they worked so well together on Prisoners. And every time you listen to Deakins, if you listen to his podcast, which I would highly recommend, and what I get from these visuals is just so heartwarming, because it's two people who really want to impress each other, and it's two people who are working so close together, but it's also every single member of Deakins' team. It's his focus puller, it's his gaffer, it's everyone who he's worked with all through his career making this work so well. You know, Alejandro putting the gun behind Kate's head, and there's a focus pull on that, which is Oscar worthy. It's so clean, it's so crisp, it's just bang, he's in, bang, he's out, and we know where we are. And everyone always talks about, Matt's just mentioned it there, you know, that shot, that silhouetted shot of them disappear. It's not difficult to shoot a silhouette like that. When you have a sunset like that, it's not difficult, because you know your exposure, and you know that you're going to just knock it down a couple of stops. You know you're going to have shadows in front of you. What is difficult is the pace of moving the camera, of blocking the scene, of having people move and move the camera, making sure you understand their motivations as they're moving through the scene. And that's what people don't give Deakins enough credit for, is his motivation in character development. Deakins always used one camera on every film, refused to use more than one camera. So if you think of that shootout sequence at the border, that's one camera. So we'll figure out where it's going to be and what it's going to do. And watch it again. It's so well thought out. It's so well played. It's so technically perfect. The littler moments as well that really play out on top of their massive technical moments. When Reggie finds out that Ted's an arsehole and he's working for the cartel, and he's fucking really upset. Look at the lighting on that. Kaluuya's just behind his back, and there's just this light next to him, and he's just half lit, and it's fucking beautiful as a shot. It's beautiful.
Amazing.
And it doesn't need to be. But before that, you've got this wide of the sirens, you've got everything else, and it's just this darkness. And you push into the darkness, and he is this glimmer of hope for Kate. He's this slice of light in all of the darkness, and he can't bring himself to be any more light because he doesn't know what's going on. Now, that one shot there, that one thing, well, I'm going to light it like this. What? Because it looks cool? No, because that guy's suffering. And he can't bring any more light to Kate's life, and he can't be any more present in her life, and he is a shadow of who he used to be. And I could go on for hours and hours and hours about everything that Deakins shoots, but it's just that what he puts into it, from an emotional point of view, from a character point of view, I don't think is celebrated enough.
Fantastic. Could easily go unnoticed.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, yeah.
But I mentioned about the visual language that Villeneuve communicates with this film. And he wouldn't be able to connect so strongly if it weren't for the Grand Master, Sir Roger, of course.
Yeah.
The complexities of those overhead shots, the complexities of the terrain, they all represent the complexities of this whole operation. The term that gets bandied about, it's quite a cliche, every frame of painting. But I think here, Deakins should try and trademark the term every frame an ordnance survey map, because there's probably a bit more of a mouthful than the first one.
And less flattering as well.
Yeah, less flattering. But all these incredible overhead shots are so detailed.
Yeah.
And they've all got an identity, despite containing very little other than just the desert and an odd smattering of green. They all look the same, but they've all got an identity.
Mm-hmm.
And this palette has been sandblasted and it's breathtakingly bleak, the kind of place where only wolves thrive. The visuals reinforce the narrative spectacularly.
Mm-hmm.
And the majority of the sets, the majority of the costumes, they're all like sandy beige, as if the Mexican desert has made its way over the border and infiltrated the very people who are fighting against it, blurring the lines between right and wrong. Once again, I mean, it's just stunning work from Roger Deakins.
Unbelievable.
Deakins took particular inspiration from the photography of Alex Webb, whose Crossings book depicted scenes on the Mexico-US border.
Mm-hmm.
And he also used his background as a documentarian in war zones as a source of inspiration. He said, I think being in those war zones helped me give the shots a grounded in reality. Mm-hmm. You can see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Villeneuve said that using the RE Alexa brings a sensibility the 35mm film doesn't have. But with Roger, he approached digital like 35mm. It means everything is done in camera and on set. Colour timing for Roger is a very small process. It's something more crude in some ways, in that everything's pretty much finished as you see it on the daily.
Yeah, everything's done in camera. Incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Villeneuve also said, and how about this for a quote? At the end of the day, it's not about the camera, it's who's behind the camera. And there's Roger Deakins, who could shoot with a shoe and it would look great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.
What a quote.
You would, though.
I would.
Yeah.
So Villeneuve surrounded himself with some of the best in their field with his crew, all adding essential texture and layers to Sicario.
Definitely.
The end.
Before the deal goes down, Kate is exhausted and is in desperate need of some R&R. Her and Reggie head over to the Wild Pony for a few cowboy brewskis, but things go very, very bad.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, we're talking about Sicario here. Of course it goes bad.
Yeah, of course it does, yeah.
Bit of karaoke then, early night.
Yeah. No. I really feel for Kate at the Wild Pony here. Her head's spinning. She doesn't know which way is up, where her allegiances lie. She's taken up smoking again, and all she wants to do is have a drink to let her hair down.
And Reggie's skipping out in the first round as well. I get the table.
Yeah.
That's my round then. Dick move.
Yeah.
Real brother and sister, that is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, well, that's it. Like, to build on what you were saying, Matt. They've got such great chemistry in this scene, and it's clearly not sexual.
No.
Yeah. Oh, definitely, yeah.
His dialogue is great. He says, the bra situation, that's the least of your problems because you look like shit. He lays it on really thick. One T-shirt a week. Where's your personal hygiene? Your eyebrows look like caterpillars. I mean, quite unkind because, you know, we're talking about Emily Blunt here.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. But it does work.
It does. She takes it in good humour as well, which is a nice dynamic.
Yeah, she only had a baby 4 months ago, for fuck's sake.
I know. What do you mean?
Yeah, good point.
And then when they're talking, she likes the look of old Teddy Boy at the bar. And after a few beers, she starts to relax and she's actually laughing and having a good time, something which seemed impossible for this character beforehand.
Yeah, but you feel worried when you see that, don't you?
Very much. Very much. See, that's terrific because this character is allowed to have a good time. But look what happens as a result. Yeah, we're not. Yeah.
We're not.
And she deserves this. It's been all work, no play so far.
Yeah.
And there's a great match cut as Ted lifts her up on the dance floor and it cuts to the same move back at her apartment.
Fantastic.
Love it.
Fantastic, yeah.
But things go south very, very quickly, don't they, Matt?
They certainly do. This scene, it's so well acted. It's so tense. Like, the brutality of the violence is shocking and it's so visceral as well. It's really in your face. And Jon Bernthal is really, really good in this scene. I mean, he's really good in the film.
Yeah.
But the issue for me is he's almost too good because he's John Bernthal, and I don't think I've ever seen a film with him in where he plays a good guy or someone who can be trusted. You know, he's bad news in Fury. He's bad news in Wolf of Wall Street. He's bad news in The Walking Dead.
Yes.
So that flip where Kate sees the rubber band and realizes who he is and he goes to kill her, that doesn't have the impact for me because I'm thinking, it's John Bernthal. Of course he's bad news. You know, this isn't going to be a scene when it's just about, you know, Kate getting her rocks off. And it's certainly not Bernthal's fault because he's that good. It's just one of those things where I think, like, can you imagine it if they'd flipped the Bernthal and Kaluuya casting in this? Would that have been more of a surprise?
Wow.
Because Kaluuya's not such
really
a good guy.
Yeah.
That's really interesting, yeah.
So as a plot point, it works great and it sets the rest of it up really well. And no one is like letting the side down here. And as I say, as a piece of like visual, visceral cinema, it works. But I think for something that should be an absolute shocker, this should be
expected.
It's expected. This should be like the Rollo Tomasi scene from LA Confidential.
Yeah, right.
And it's just not. Because I just from the get-go, I think it's Bernthal. Of course he's a wrong one.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. He plays it well, very well.
Oh, he plays it really, really well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, talking about it being obvious, he's in the back of the police car and he's with the two worst guys, or the two best guys that you want him to be with at this point after you've seen what's happened to Kate. And it's just Brolin's character, you know, Matt just going, well, you brought him back here. That was smart. Just put that in your report. Come on, you know, it's positive.
Yeah,
let's go.
Love that.
Yeah, brilliant. And he's just like, yeah, come on, you know, let's do this. And he's got him in the back of the car. And then you just see Alejandro just with the door open. He's not committing yet.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't really want to commit. He's just on the sidelines. And is this an interrogation? Because it's really painful, but at the same time, treats him like a child and it really belittles him. Yes. Tweaks his eyebrow, and pulls his fucking stop fucking with this, like do something or don't do something, you know. And then there's like the most violent wet willy I've ever seen in my life. Like he's finger straight in his ear and he's going for it. You're gonna live, you're gonna be fine, but your ex-wife and your daughter aren't gonna be, and that's where they're hitting, and that's the whole point. And it's Matt who does that through the mirror, and he doesn't actually turn to face him as a human being, just as a reflection of himself, as a reflection of who he thinks he is, like his nastiest side of him. Like he can't actually turn and face him as a person. He has to do it through the mirror. It's your choice. And I think that's what you get from this whole interrogation sequence, is just like how callous, how dark, and how much they're willing to just be so nasty to somebody, but in a childlike way for the audience. It's a really great scene, and again, really well played out, because it leaves you to the imagination of like, does he get away with it? Does he not?
Well,
Once this scene finishes, I completely forget about Ted's character.
Yeah, I do.
It's gone. Absolutely gone.
He gets what's coming to him.
When we get to the end of it, it might be one of the detriments of this film is that you keep looking to the next scene, so you don't appreciate the one you're in, which is why we have to keep moving, and maybe why we don't get it on the first watch. So we'll see when we get to the end, see if that actually works.
A little bit of tension there. A little knife edge. Lovely.
It's not that bad, is it? I'll just give you a wet willy.
So a harrowing sequence of events for Kate, with Alejandro proving that nothing will draw information out of a corrupt copper quicker than a wet willy. We've entered the business end of Sicario, which plays out like 4th of July on steroids, starting with the aforementioned descent into the tunnel.
Yeah.
I mean, this tunnel scene, it harks back to the beginning of the film when they first cross the border, and Roland looks across the town and calls it the Beast, and this is going into the belly of the Beast.
Yes.
You have no idea what you're going to find here. And this is one of the best scenes of putting you in the perspective of Kate and Reggie. By this point, they're at the back, no instructions, just don't kill anyone on the same team.
Yeah.
And that's it. And everything else is going to be handled by everyone else. And that constant cutting from regular perspective, viewing it through the night vision goggles, to the thermal shots, to the bird's eye shots from above, how that's cut together is done so perfectly and so precisely. There's a real sense of paranoia to the sequence. Obviously, your Silence of the Lambs influence in this scene as well, with Clarice going in the basement through the night vision.
Yes.
Zero Dark 30 has a very similar sequence at the end of that film.
Very much.
Which I think is the influence here as well. But all the same, the visuals with the music, cutting to silence on the ground, combined with how out of their depth Kate and Reggie are, it's one of the most tense sequences in the film. And when one of them asks what the rules of engagement are, and Roland replies, "Weapons free, my friend, weapons free." That's one of the best lines of dialogue in the film, because you just know bad shit's going to happen now.
Yeah.
He's not going to say no to anything anyone wants to do.
Yeah.
No,
And then
exactly.
even when it bursts into like the shootout, because it starts off like a horror film, creeping through the tunnel using the knife on people. And then it's like Heat all of a sudden with the gunfire and the shootout. And at one point you get Kate, she looks nervously behind her. And you think, like a lot of people when they talk about this film, they'll talk about the scarf scene, people talk about it with Del Toro's performance. They liken Sicario to a horror film. And this for me is the sequence most like a horror film sequence. Because you're 100% expecting something to jump out of her from the tunnel.
Oh, you definitely are.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, even if it's Buffalo Bill, you wouldn't be surprised.
Some moths flying around.
Yeah, yeah. Incredible stuff. Would you fuck me?
I'd fuck me.
Just the sincerity in which you said it, like it wasn't. I thought you were talking to me. I was like, no. As mentioned, Deakins shot with the ARRI Alexa to get the effect of the night vision and thermal views in the scene. There was no effects added in post. Deakins used 2 different attachments, often used by the military.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Wow.
The soles of shoes were also heated up before rolling so that it came over a lot more on screen more clearly. You
Yeah,
could
that's
see
great
the
that we see the
footsteps.
footprints.
Yeah,
Yeah.
brilliant. The reason that there were 2 different views, it's to differentiate between 2 different points of view. So clear.
Yeah, it works.
And Deakins said, it was almost ridiculous how little light I was using, but I didn't want to go too far and make the image look too good because not realistically, it just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Wow. There's a moment in the tunnel where Kate hits her head on the top.
Yeah.
And that wasn't planned. But
really?
Villeneuve kept it in for an added sense of realism.
Nice.
It's only subtle. It doesn't. It's not like the Star Wars.
The stormtrooper bang his head, yeah.
And yeah, once they're in there, it's amazing, that tunnel. But we start to get a bit more clarity when those packages of narcotics are being unloaded from the car. The pieces are kind of finally coming together about who this family who we've been seeing in Nogales are, the policeman Silvio and his son, who just desperate to play football, that little fella.
Yeah.
He's a mule for the cartels. No wonder he's getting a frosty reception from his wife. And he's clearly in well over his head. And just a little side note on his breakfasts that he keeps on getting served up. They look incredible.
Brilliant. With jalapenos.
Yeah.
Obviously. Fantastic.
Then there's a disagreement between him and another guy who swiftly gets a bullet in the head when Alejandro shows up.
Yeah.
The guy says Medellin to him, throwing his allegiances into question and completely baffling Kate, who reminds Alejandro of his past life and his daughter, which we find out later, which makes it all the more heartbreaking that he has to take her down when she shows up. Bang, bang. Just like that. He can't get his revenge any other way.
Yeah.
He puts 2 in a bulletproof vest without remorse and just leaves her gasping for breath. And we still don't have any real answers.
No.
We as rattled as Kate, we're as confused as Kate. And then when Kate emerges from that tunnel, Matt gets what coming to him. A smack right in the kisser.
Yeah. And as we're talking about that smack in the kisser, in the moment where Kate punches Matt, he restrains her. He takes a beat or 2 in between his dialogue. And this wasn't scripted. Brolin had forgotten his lines in it to think for a second.
It works well, though.
Yeah.
It scans. It doesn't look too obvious.
I totally, because it's taken him a little bit of time to get back to it, but not too long.
No. But when Matt finally does come clean, it all becomes very clear what the whole thing has been about. Alejandro's on a mission of vengeance. He gets what he wants, and ultimately it helps Matt and his crew get what they want. It doesn't matter whose side is on. And we get the exposition about his family that would have just been too far heavy-handed in that original dream sequence.
It would have been, yeah. Too much.
These are the kind of people that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Love it. So the whole thing has been leading up to Alejandro tracking down Fausto Alarcón, and you're taking that right away, Westy.
I'll take that right away, and I'll begin by talking about Silvio, I think, because we see his journey peppered through him. Haven't really spoke about him yet, but his family dynamic is obviously falling apart. His wife knows what he's doing or doesn't know what he's doing, or it's shifty and he hasn't really explained it. He's drinking at breakfast.
Yeah.
He's trying to please his son. He's trying to, just be part of what he needs to be part of. But again, he's brought it into something that he can't control. So for me, he is a mirror image of Kate on the other side of the border.
Yes.
And it's how that works and that
they
dynamic
smoke the same
works.
cigarettes as well, don't they?
They smoke the same cigarettes, Indian Creek, which look fantastic, let's be honest. And it's just heartbreaking when Alejandro gets in that. And then you know it's Silvio and you know that what he's doing. And you just think, oh no, and he drives into that thunderstorm. And you know that, oh God, his son just wants to play football with him. He just wants to have a family unit, but it's so out of his control. There's just this incredible moment where he pulls up and he's got Diaz pulled over and he says to Silvio, just tell him to get out of the car. You know what Alejandro's like. You know that he's got no kind of remorse whatsoever for these people, but we have remorse for Silvio as an audience. But that moment where there's just that shot of Silvio and there's just the lights behind him. Cuts back to Diaz. He's trying to figure out who he is, and then it's just bang, 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 down, done. Just, it's a heartbreaker when it comes back down to his body just lying there. He's just another number.
Yes.
He's not a person anymore. And there's just this real precision now from Alejandro, and he's talking to Diaz, gets through the first one, he passes him. It's Diaz, let him go, bang, done.
Yeah.
It's like a far more mature version of True Lies. Like, here's my invitation. Boom. You know what I mean?
That's a nice piece.
It's a nice piece. But there's surveillance there, so you know he's backed up.
Yes.
And then one more time, they say, we're going blind. They turn the cameras off again. So anything that's personal to Alejandro, they turn the cameras off.
Yeah.
So there's no evidence of. And when we actually find him in that house, when he approaches that family, I think this is Sicario for me. This is the most powerful scene in the whole film. It's based on you experiencing his emotions through absolute silence. And there's that moment where you know for a fact it's all going to go down, but you don't know how it's going to go down. But he says, not in front of me kids. So he basically says, well, I'm going to have to kill them first, thanks. You don't make kill you in front of them. So I'm going to kill them first. And there's that moment. Would your wife be proud of who you've become? And there's that pause. And it's so fucking beautiful. It's just so beautifully done by Del Toro. He's just, don't forget about my daughter. And then it cuts to the wife because she knows how important that is.
Yes.
And she's like, oh, for fuck's sake, we're all dead.
Yeah.
And then there's that cut to the wide, which is beautiful, just that side shot. Everyone's just lying on the ground. It's like, finish your meal. Bang. And then there's just that bang. And then there's that cut to black. And the last thing he has to do is go to Kate's.
Yes.
And then we cut to that beautiful shot again of the dust coming through. She's on the balcony, and he says, I wouldn't stand on any balconies in the near future or, anytime soon. Comes back through, and he just expects her to sign it. But there's this real muteness from Del Toro when she's crying, and he just wipes the tears away. And there's this moment where it's just, you're going to be committing suicide because no one's going to believe I was here. No one's going to know I was here. Everyone's going to believe you've shot yourself because of what you've been through.
Yeah.
You know for a fact that I've won. This is a world of wolves and you're not a wolf.
Yes.
You're out of your depth. Let it go.
Exactly.
Strips the gun, throws it away. And then she has that incredible moment, which is very Coens for me, very No Country for Old Men. And you get that incredible moment. Again, talking about Deakins, talking about his crew. Del Toro leaves the frame and then we push focus on Emily Blunt in the background as her head comes down, as she hangs her head. And that's it. And then we finish on a football match, which is naturally bordered. You've got the game. That's where you play it, inside of these borders. As soon as the kid kicks the ball over the goal, over the borders, the guns go off.
Yeah.
It's Silvio's kid doing it, and
Yes.
it's the wife looking at it going, well, there's no way we can avoid this. It's always going to happen. There's always going to be fireworks.
It's an incredible ending.
It is amazing.
And from an incredible ending to an incredible final question.
Okay.
From one of our patrons. Our final one comes from Emily. Hello, Emily.
Hello, Emily.
Hello, Emily. The Emily? Emily B?
Is it Emily Blunt? Who knows? Maybe
knows?
that's why
Is it?
she's only
Maybe.
given her first name. She remains incognito, Matt.
Wonderful.
All right.
Emily says, the family dinner at the end of Sicario is certainly one of the more shocking that I've seen on screen, but mealtimes in movies feel like a great opportunity to trap characters together for a heartwarming moment, tense confrontation, or some other pivotal event. What are your favourite or most iconic movie scenes around a dining table? The Untouchables baseball bat scene comes to mind for me. That's what Emily says. She also says, big thanks from Toronto. My dad, Chris, got me hooked on the pod, and we love breaking down your breakdowns together, which is very nice.
Oh, that's
lovely.
Nice to know.
Thank you,
Hello,
Emily.
Chris, as well, then.
Yeah, hello,
Big up,
Chris.
Chris.
Hello, Emily.
Yeah.
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 Okay, I think the dinner table scene in Goodfellas obviously is the one that comes to mind first.
Oh, yeah.
You see my painting?
It's delicious. Who puts ketchup on like that? That's too much ketchup.
Far too much ketchup. You've got
Far
no
too much.
control.
No control whatsoever. It's all over the place.
Another one that leaps to mind is the horrific ending to Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the most grueling scenes in history, not least because of what went on behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't know, that's in our archive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we've got it there.
sign up.
And yes, my final one, I'm going to come at you left field. It's from Shrek 2. When they have dinner at Princess Fiona's parents' place. Harold, Shrek, Fiona, Donkey. That's amazing.
It's brilliant. Donkey.
That's really funny, yeah.
It's not. I went for really harrowing ones, but that's brilliant. I love that.
Well, all the ones I was thinking about were miserable, so I've needed some light. But there's still a big argument going on in that scene.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Matt, what about you? Dinner table scenes?
I'm going for 3.
Brilliant.
First one I'm going for Hereditary.
Nice.
Toni Collette's meltdown at the family, which is so uncomfortable and difficult to sit through.
Yes.
She is, I mean, we've always sang her praises. She is magnificent in that film.
That line, man.
scene.
It's like, with that fucking face on your face.
Yeah. Completely totally different because this one is absolutely played flaps, but Beetlejuice and Dio.
Nice.
Oh, brilliant.
Dio. Yeah.
Love it.
And the last one, I'm pulling out one of the big guns, Citizen Kane.
Oof.
The scene of Kane and his wife at the dinner table, and it keeps going forward a few years as the marriage disintegrates. It's all lovey-dovey, and then by then they're just hurling daggers at each other across the table. So, going to end on Citizen Kane.
Fantastic.
Wow. Highbrow.
Highbrow, Matt.
That's me.
As usual.
And what about you, Westy?
I had a couple there. I had Hereditary, obviously. I
Of
had Texas Chainsaw, obviously. But the 3 others that you guys didn't come up with. I mean, is Dinner with Andre a cheat? Can I do that? Is that all right?
Of course you can.
Of course I can. So I'm doing that one. And I'm doing Temple of Doom.
Shield monkey brains.
Yeah, just stuck with my heart,
Yeah.
Snake supplies. What? Every single bit of that just freaked me out and really entertained me as a kid. But one that stuck with me recently is the end of Don't Look Up, where the whole thing's just crashing down and they're just trying to have one last family dinner and trying to make everything normal again.
Excellent. Some great meals to be had in those scenes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for the question, Emily. Much appreciated.
Brilliant
Yes,
question.
thank you, Emily.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chris. Hope you guys enjoyed discussing that one a bit more.
Yes, very much. And with Alejandro paying a little visit to Kate to get her to sign that everything was on the up and up, it's the most fitting end to a bleak and morally ambiguous film, and an outstanding one as well.
Surely is.
Reception and awards.
Sicario opened at the Cannes Film Festival in May 2015, competing for the Palme d'Or before being released in September. The film was met with some controversy upon release, with scrutiny coming from the mayor of Juarez, who implored people to boycott the film. He was of the opinion that the film reflected the city negatively and incorrectly, as it had seen steady decline in violence since 2010.
I could say that, yeah.
Yeah, he has a point, to be fair.
Understandable. But despite the uproar, Sicario was a big hit at the box office, and on a $30 million budget, it returned $85 million worldwide. It was never going to ruffle the feathers of the $2 billion that The Force Awakens earned, but for this film, it's still pretty impressive.
That's impressive,
massively.
yeah.
It was also a hit with critics, wasn't it, Westy?
It was. Mark Kermode said, what makes this work is that Emily Blunt is terrific, and Benicio del Toro has this eye-catching appearance as a riddle and an enigma.
Yes, indeed.
Which is very true.
It is. And Empire gave it the full 5 out of 5. And they said, a beautifully murky, hard-edged thriller. Quite simply, one of the best films of the year.
No arguing there. And what about our man in the field, big Roger Dodger Ebert? What do you think he gave him out of 4?
I'm going to go 3.5.
3.5, sure. Matt?
Yeah.
I'll go 3. I don't think he gave it the full 4.
Matt, you nailed it.
There you go.
3 out of 4.
Nice.
Rog said, at times Sicario is deeply satisfying and intense examination of a war with no rules of engagement, driven by a spectacular performance by Benicio del Toro. Other times, especially in its middle act, Sicario can be frustratingly self-indulgent, filled with overhead helicopter shots of the Mexican border and a thumping, pretentious score.
Ooh, controversial.
That's unfair.
Yeah, that is unfair because those two things, I think, elevate the film.
Well, work really well together. Imagine not having them in.
And now it has 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb and 92% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
And finally, Sicario was also well received on the awards circuit. Its list of nominations were as long as my arm. Tiny arms.
Which was as long as something else.
It received over 70 nominations, winning a smattering at the lower key ceremonies.
And of the high-profile award ceremonies, it was nominated for Best Cinematography, Original Score, and Sound Editing at the Oscars.
Nice.
Yeah, Emmanuel Lubezki won cinematography for The Revenant.
Yeah.
Ennio Morricone won score for The Hateful Eight, and Mad Max won for sound editing. Can't really complain about those.
It's a tough one, that. I mean, The Revenant's outrageous.
Yeah.
Tough competition there.
Morricone winning his only competitive Oscar.
Exactly.
It's fair enough.
Yeah.
And at the BAFTAs, it was also nominated for cinematography and score, along with Del Toro for Best Supporting Actor.
Yes, but to no avail, unfortunately.
Shame.
However, Sicario was a triumph for all involved, pulling off the coveted 1-2 punch of critical and commercial success.
Definitely.
Sequels and influence.
The success of Sicario led to a fast-track sequel, Sicario Day of the Soldado, which came out 3 years later in 2018. Also written by Taylor Sheridan, with Italian director Stefano Sollima replacing Denis Villeneuve in the hot seat. Matt, your thoughts on that sequel?
Seen it once, it didn't really stick in the mind too long, and unlike the original, I've not really felt the need to go back to it. I think my main takeaway from it is it actually kind of reinforced why I wanted to come back to this. Because the sequel didn't have Emily Blunt, and it made me realise just how much she brought to the original.
Yes.
And it doesn't have Denis Villeneuve, and that made me appreciate what he did with the original.
Yes.
Because I just thought it had none of the tension of this one. So I might give it another go at some point if it's on and there's nothing else to watch, but it didn't really leave much of an impact.
There's always something else to watch.
And that's, I'm lying, to be honest. I'll never watch it again.
Yeah.
I'll always find something else I want to watch.
Yeah, very much the same. I mean, when I first saw it, that opening sequence, I mean, that is hard hitting.
Yes, it is.
But I think the person who's learned the most from the sequel is Taylor Sheridan, in that, you can't just write whatever you want and it works. I think you need somebody who's going to trim your work. You need somebody who's going to kind of oversee it. And I think he learned a lot from the second one, and that there's so much fat on the bone. Where the first one is so thin, it's so lean, it's so precise, it's so to the point. It's a difficult second album, isn't it, for Taylor Sheridan? It's like he's put everything into the first one, and he's trying to reclaim the same from the second, and it just doesn't work, because I think all the characters that you see in the second one, we've seen enough of them in the first one. We've seen their arcs complete, and we don't really need to see any more, because it's just tired.
It's got a few standout scenes.
It's all right, yeah. The opening sequence is amazing. I thought, well, here we go, we're back.
Yeah.
But,
The border crossing with the kidnapped cartel daughter is a good sequence, tense. I was always surprised that it just slipped out without much fanfare, and I was also surprised that it retained the talents of Brolin and Del Toro, and that it was written by Sheridan.
Yeah.
Hilda Goodnadotia does a good job of imitating Johansson's work on the score, but it doesn't have the visual language that Villeneuve brought to it. Sollima tries to do a good job of maintaining consistency, but I just don't think he's good enough director to pull off what Denis did.
No.
And very similar to you, man, I don't think it's got the emotional core of the first film. The reason for that is Emily Blunt isn't in it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Of course.
Not taking too much away from the film, because it's a solid thriller. It just doesn't have the magic of the original film, and it feels a little unnecessary.
Yeah.
Sheridan said that there was no room for Emily Blunt and the character of Kate. He said that her arc was complete and he couldn't figure out a way to write her into the story, which is fair enough.
Yeah, totally fair enough.
Del Toro likened the sequel to The Doors' second album, Strange Days. He said, It might not be as tight as the first one, but it has a mood, and I tend to play the second album more than the first one, even though the first one's got all the great hits.
No, fair enough. I might give it another try then, to be honest.
Don't bother.
Well, tell that to Benicio.
I won't. No.
But say I'll give it a try. That's the case.
A third film in the Sicario universe was announced before the second one even came out, entitled Sicario Capos. However, things have gone quiet on the Sicario front. He is hoping that if they do resurrect it, they find a spot for Emily Blunt in the story.
Yeah, I think so. I think it'd be a really good series.
And what about the original film's legacy and influence? Westy, where have you seen that in movies since?
Pretty much in everything that's come since, to be honest, with that kind of realistic vibe to it, that realistic element to it. But the thing that I've seen most is Taylor Sheridan's career.
Very much.
Because I think without the help of Denis, I think without the help of, the editing of that script, the taking away of all of the shit, the taking away of all of the exposition that he didn't want in there, but he didn't realise was in there anyway, I think he's learned so much from what is being put into the finished version of Sicario. And I think he's watched Sicario and thought, I've got a career because I need to just keep doing what I'm doing, but not as much, maybe.
Yeah.
And what if I did that with something that I'm really interested in, like a Western, but I bring it up to date and I make it now, but I keep the same kind of parameters on it. So for me, I think it's everything that Taylor Sheridan's done. I mean, Hell or High Water.
It's a good film.
There's probably a plethora of films that I go through and say, oh, well, this is influenced by Sicario. But it's just going to be obvious. I think the best thing to see from this is Taylor Sheridan's career and what he's learned from this. And I think that's to Villeneuve's absolute testament to go, yeah, write everything down, but you don't need to because this is how it works.
Yeah.
And look how successful Sheridan's been since this. And I think that's the main takeaway from Sicario and its main kind of influence.
Absolutely, yeah.
When I looked it up, I was really surprised because it's a huge coincidence that Narcos, the drama series, started the same year as this.
Yes.
Because I could have sworn it came a couple of years after.
Yeah.
And
I was like 2018 or something.
Yeah, I was sure it was going to be that, and that would be my opening thing. Well, obviously, Narcos wouldn't exist without this, so it's kind of amazing they came out the same year. For me, yes, absolutely, put Taylor Sheridan on the map. I think it just stands up as the kind of film which goes into that murky morality that a lot of other films want to do, but they probably don't do it quite as well. I think also just the fact, I think this is the one that I really think made Villeneuve a mainstream director. Everyone else was a bit more art house, I think. I don't know if he would be on the list to get like the Blade Runner gig, for example, if he hadn't shown he can do blockbuster stuff in kind of inverted commas like this. And then really, I mean, just another one for me, probably the main takeaway. I think this was just such a huge rung on the ladder for Emily Blunt to prove she's just one of the best actresses working today. You know, it's still absolutely probably like top 3, top 5 performances for her.
Yeah, I'm not going to labour the point. I agree with everything that you fellas have said.
Yeah.
I do think it's been equally influential on the small and big screen with works like Eastwood's The Mule, that American-made film with Cruise, even Ozark.
Ozark, a lot in there,
and countless Netflix drug trade docs all sprouting up after this as well. And Sheridan's career wouldn't have happened, or certainly would look very different. Exactly the same with Denis Villeneuve's career. I just don't think he's directing the sequel to Blade Runner or the Dune films without this.
This and Arrival, I think.
This and Arrival, absolutely.
Like hand in hand, it's like, I can do sci-fi, I can do Grounded.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Like, okay, well, you can do Blade Runner, you can do Dune.
Exactly.
And Emily Blunt, the same. This and The Edge of Tomorrow the year before, I mean, that just put her up into like the elite level of performers, and it's a perch she hasn't come down from.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, amazing. So a decent sequel, possibly another one on the way, but the original had huge implications on the trajectory of Taylor Sheridan, Emily Blunt, and Denis Villeneuve's career, and for that, we must be very thankful.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All the Right Movies ranking.
The final part of our show is to summarise and score Sicario out of 10. Westy, what do you have for us?
Normally, I'm like, oh, well, I've said everything in the episode. I don't really feel like I've said everything that I wanted to say in the episode, bizarrely enough.
Strap in, everyone. Here we go.
No. I'm not going to go down that route. I just think because that is the kind of film that this is, you can't get it on the first watch. You're not going to get everything we said on the first listen.
Yes.
Because you need to go back and watch it again. And what were they talking about there? And what did that mean there? And how was that done? And I think that's how this is constructed. I think it's on purpose. It's purposefully made so that it's not easily absorbed, so that you have to go back and you have to experience it again and again and again. And then when it clicks, it becomes a masterpiece. But it takes a long time for that to happen.
Yes.
It is a masterpiece in what it does and what it says, and the 30 million budget. I can't think of another film that ticks all these boxes for how beautiful it is, for the sound design, for the soundtrack, for the acting, for the direction. Absolutely everything works, but it's still lacking. It still leaves something. You still have to come back again and again and again and find something. And I think that's the point of the film. And I think that's to its detriment and to its credit. So it's one of them ones where I'm really, really confused about what kind of mark I should give it. I would probably go perfect because I've seen it that many times that I know that I can give it that, but that's not going to be very fair. So I would not recommend this to someone and go, you're going to love this film, because I know you're not the first time you see it. But come back in a couple of years and tell us what you think of Sicario when you've seen it 4 or 5 times. And to me, that's not a film I can give a perfect 10 score to, because that's not the whole point of it. The whole point of this film is to be a 9, I think, is to leave that little bit of ambiguity, to leave that little bit of mystery, and to get to that 10 yourself. So I'm going to give it a 9, and I'm going to let everyone else get to that 10 in their own time.
Lovely. I said at the top, like you, Matt, that I did a 180 on this film, and I always knew that I just needed a bit more time and space. Like you're saying, Westy, it's repeat viewings.
Yeah.
If you do that, I think you'll be richly rewarded with Sicario. It's a gem of a film with all parts of the filmmaking process purring, specifically Del Toro and Blunt's performances.
Wonderful.
Deakins' visuals, Jóhannsson's thundering score. It feels like it should be at least a 2.5-hour film. And incredibly, Villeneuve has packed it into 2 hours. I'm always pleasantly relieved. So that's obviously a positive for me.
Yeah.
But it's not enough of a positive to get top marks, purely because it's not one that I returned back to again and again, and I had to really fight to like the film.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. So I am also giving it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
And Matt, what about you?
It's both easy and difficult to rate this one for me. On the one hand, it's easy to split this up into the things that really work for me here and the things that don't work that well. And the ratio is far more in favor of the things that do work. But where it's difficult is that the things that don't work aren't inconsequential. So it's not a case of me saying, oh, that scene ran a little too long, or that line delivery was a bit weak, things I could overlook. But the positives, Blunt, Brolin, Del Toro, Kaluuya, stellar work from all of them. Stellar work from Deakins and Jóhannsson, and Villeneuve harnesses all that together. And what he does is he provides this canvas for them to do their best work. And the best thing about him is he pulls that canvas really tightly.
Yes.
There's no like limp edges to this film whatsoever. But the writing is still a bit of a sticking point for me. As I said earlier, for the film to take like 2 hours to have Kate make this realization, I think as an audience we know from the first minute, just strikes me as a bit maybe heavy-handed is the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
And like I say, the Bernthal scene doesn't have the shock value that it should have, because I can kind of see where that's going. Even on my first viewing, I kind of realized where that was going to go. So it's very good, and I've done the 180 on it. It's just that little bit of style over substance for my taste. And like you, I kind of know why I don't come back to it that often now. So for me, it's an 8.5.
8.5. Still a good score.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the scores for Sicario don't end there. Our fourth and final score comes from our incredible patrons who have been scoring the film whilst also contributing immeasurably to our Patreon community. Thank you all for your inputs, guys and gals.
Yes, thank you so much, guys.
Thank
Looking
you.
forward to this one.
Before I give you their score, I've picked out some very nice comments.
Okay.
Firstly, from Shazza, she said, a full 10, straight off the bat.
Wow.
Said, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. Blunt being sort of a patsy metaphorically held over the barrel at the end, signing the form. Brolin cool AF in sandals, and Del Toro's calm patience at the dinner scene. Also one of the best opening shockers. Loved it.
Nice one.
Fair enough.
Classic Shazza.
Classic.
Don't promote flip-flops, though, Shaz. No. That's bad news, Piers. Don't do that.
No. Karim Helliwell said, amazing characters, score, cinematography, and climax, 10, and one of my favourite films from the 21st century.
Wow, big 10.
Ooh.
Okay.
And finally, Kate Borowski said, I could tell this wasn't the average shoot 'em up from the first scenes. Villeneuve composes the images on the screen in a way that doesn't show anything that is superfluous or cluttered. Also, for a movie with guns and violence, the film was quiet rather than loud. The only other Villeneuve movies I've seen are Dune and Arrival. They all seem to have a quiet that is strong, and they also have strong female characters that go against stereotypes and have an inner strength that enables them to stand alone for their beliefs.
Yeah.
Wow. Nailed it.
Fantastic.
Wow.
Well done, Kate.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Thanks for your comments, everyone. So what do you think Sicario averaged out of 10 from our patrons, fellas?
I'm torn between 8 and the 9, but I'm going to go higher. I think I'm going to go 9.
I agree. I'll go 9 as well.
You're going to go 9. Well, it got a very high 9.5 out of 10.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Very big, meaning that
Lovely.
Sicario's overall score is 36 out of 40. Messing with the big boys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's up there.
Coming up for ATRM, we've got brand new episodes of The Watch List and Double Feature coming out this month for our Patreon supporters. So if you want to hear them, and I'd be surprised if you didn't, please sign up. Patreon.com/all the right movies.
Definitely.
We are taking a small break from this show, so in 2 weeks we'll be putting out an episode from our classic podcast archive, A Hidden Gem, so don't forget to tune in for that. Then 2 weeks after that, John, Westy and Matt will be back as they occupy the bridge on the River Kwai. A massive film and no doubt a massive podcast.
It'll be huge, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, bigger than a sweatbox, tell you that much.
What have you done, Matt? What have you done?
And if you haven't gotten around to it yet, please put aside a few seconds of your time to give us a positive rating on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Just rate us if you don't mind, and positively, please.
You don't even have to write anything. Just click 5 stars.
5 stars will do.
Beautiful. Yeah. Easy peasy.
And don't forget that we are on social media all the time. On X, we are at AT Right Movies, where our making of movie threads are jam-packed with movie-making insight. Just like our podcast, all the behind-the-scenes stories we tell come from the cast and crew or is verified by at least 3 sources.
Yep.
They're amazing reads, so check them out if you don't already.
Please do, guys. Yeah.
You can also read them on Blue Sky, where we are at alltherightmovies.com. They're on Threads as well, where we are at all_the_right_movies, the same as our Instagram handle. On TikTok, we are at All the Right Movies. We also have a great Facebook group with a great movie community.
Yep.
And we're on YouTube as well. If you didn't know already, watch our videos.
Everywhere.
We're everywhere.
Everywhere.
That's youtube.com/All the Right Movies. And our website is alltherightmovies.com.
Yes, it is.
Ooh, and that is a wrap, everyone. We're off to a small town where the rules of the law still exist, hopefully.
Well, I'm going to get out of here. I'm no wolf.
Thank you very much for listening, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Yes, thank you so much, guys.
Thanks,
Stay safe.